Shabbat Shalom, Mishpacha. This is Rabbi Simon Altaf Kohen from the great nation of the United States of America. Okay, so here we are in the Corona days of America and dealing with Corona. As most people know that the president of this nation, our president, he does an announcement every night regarding the status of Corona. So before I go ahead, can everybody hear me? Am I getting through Corona days? Okay, great. So as you know that yesterday they came out with figures regarding the infection or the virus and how long it lasts outside. And if you remember, a couple of days back they spoke about that alcohol, isopropyl alcohol, will kill this virus in seconds. Hence why having it in your sanitizer is very handy. And if you got a higher percentage, like 75% alcohol in your sanitizer, which you're gonna make yourself, of course, then you're gonna, have anything on your hands related to this virus will just be killed instantly. Now, if you were to use other detergents, like they said, if we have bleach and those kind of guys, then they said that they'll take about 5 minutes for it to kill it. So bleach takes longer. And then they also spoke about ultraviolet rays and stuff like that, heat. So what came out yesterday's little broadcast was heat and humidity both kill the virus. Sunlight, the sun rays, they kill the virus instantly outside. It doesn't survive long. We're talking about seconds, possibly minutes, but very few minutes, not long, not like 5 minutes. Maybe the virus might be lucky if you're going to stay alive 2 minutes in sunlight. So this is probably why that in most of the hot countries out there, we have seen little infection. Now, I will say this, that kudos to Sweden. I think Sweden made a very smart decision not to lock down, just to instruct their people, hey, those of you that are vulnerable, those of you that get the flu, stay indoors, don't go out mingling with people. And so Sweden, actually, contrary to everything you hear on the lying media and the lying politicians, Sweden actually came out really good, because Sweden not only saved its economy, but the people are working as nothing ever happened. Now I hear reports in the East that people are now, doing, the lockdown isn't finished completely, but all the shops are open except bar, big plazas, big malls. They're not open yet, but people are like in the droves, in the thousands, and they're close to each other. But there you go, public life is back to normal, almost. And I was talking to my student and asking him that you travel to work every day. How is travel? Because the metro over there is stopped right now, so he has to pick up a cab to go to work daily. And he's like, well, I get on the cab and I go to work every day in the cab. But he said everywhere I see people are in large, gatherings outside on the roads. There's a lot of people gathered, they're buying food, and there's, all these little stands. And he says it almost looks like business is normal, except that, you don't have the banquet halls open and metros closed, and the big malls are closed, things like that. That's basically the story there. Also read news about China, that there was one other city in China that recently got infected again, and they have locked down that city, apparently. I don't know if that is true or that is fake news, but that's what I heard. That in China another city has been put on lockdown recently, to do with the virus, where one woman came in from outside. I don't know if she's Chinese, some Chinese woman came from outside and brought the infection in and infected some people at some gathering, and then it kind of spread from there. So really, in a nutshell, what has been now proven, that back in January, this virus was fully active in the United States of America, and people were walking around infecting each other, but nobody knew it. So what they have now realized, that a lot of those people that got infected in January, they didn't die, which means that their body had some kind of antibody that was produced to kill this virus. So now what the government is trying to do is ask people to take the antibody test so they can determine which Americans had the antibody so they can use their blood plasma to treat other patients that are getting infected. Clearly, let me tell you, the real deal is this. If you as a person have suffered or are suffering from a third-party condition, let's say you have a long-term diabetes, maybe long-term high blood pressure, maybe heart disease, then the chances are, and maybe if you're the type of person that gets the flu every year, then there is 99.99% chances that you will get this corona infection, because there is a flu virus at the end of the day, which means because your body is disproposed, is not really in a good state. So the two things that you as a person, if you're one of those people who lives on fast food, then again you predispose yourself to it because your body immune system will be low. So the thing that you should be doing, of course, I'm not going to say to you don't eat McDonald's, because McDonald's might be your bread and butter for you. So what I would suggest that you do is you raise your immune system by you can take things like liposomal vitamin C. You can take that. You can take supplements such as zinc, vitamin D. Depending on your region, if you have plenty sunshine, then sit in the sunshine a little bit to produce a vitamin D. If not, then you can take vitamin D supplements, and these will help you to raise up your immunity. Now, there are other things that you can take that will raise up your immunity, and there are other things that you can take if you really have been ill for a long time and nothing seems to work. Then one thing I'll suggest is carbon-60 is like a miracle cure. For some diseases that nothing else works on, carbon-60 seems to do wonders for those people. So again, all types of carbon-60 are not the same. There are cheaper brands, and there are brands that look good but are not good. So only buy from reputable companies that sell you good carbon-60 oil. These come in 2 milliliter bottles, and my recommendation for that, if you have been a long-term ill person, you had a heart disease, you had maybe Alzheimer's, I have heard miracle cure of Alzheimer's with this. I have heard miracle cure of joint pain with this. People suffer from joint pains. I've heard that carbon-60 can do wonders for those people. As long as they keep taking it, joint pains go, Alzheimer's can go, and all sorts of other problems, urinary problems, incontinence issues. I've read a lot about this one, that it's actually almost like a miracle cure. But again, like I said, that it depends on the quality you buy. It doesn't matter what oil it made, they make it in, whether it's avocado, whether it's virgin olive oil, coconut oil, doesn't matter. All of those are, to me, is irrelevant. You could put it into baby oil and still do the job. So they are just, add on basically. So my suggestion is there's a company called Bucky's Oil, B-U-C-K-Y-S, Bucky's Oil. They have a good, their oil is good. That's my personal testing. The other one that I've seen is really good is Purple Power. Those two companies I highly recommend to purchase from, if you do purchase it. Yes, Kefa, but selenium you could probably find in other stuff as well, like in other supplements, unless you're going to buy just selenium. So now, I have been doing some tests, and I wanted to give you this result because I think this will do wonders for some of you. And I was doing a test for blood pressure, and I did it on myself, and I did it on I asked another person to do the same, and I wanted to get results back so I could actually illustrate the point. And the results are absolutely phenomenal, and it's using something from your kitchen that you wouldn't even think about. So what I did, I took black cardamom, got it grounded into a powder, and then took 1 teaspoon of that in the morning after testing the blood pressure, and then looking at the blood pressure numbers, does it take the numbers down after that, or does it take it up, or does it leave it neutral? and I found remarkable results, absolutely phenomenal. I was just, floored by the results. I found that this can reduce your blood pressure readings, both sides, your systolic and your diastolic. And this is, to me, this is like a wonder spice in the kitchen, right? This is a spice that we use in our cooking, like I use it in the rice, and also use it sometimes in chicken and other things. So this one, you simply, take your 2 cardamoms or 3, grind them into powder, and you take 1 spoon, and 1 hour later, it had reduced the systolic pressure by about 12 millimeters, by 12. And the diastolic pressure went down by about 5. And that is just incredible. That is actually better than all your statin drugs put out there within 1 hour. And this is, personal reading and another person's reading. And the other person's readings were coming in very low. Maybe everybody's blood pressure is not the same because, height, weight, body type and all that. So what I found is one day the other person's readings were really low, and I said, take this so I can see if it regulates it, if it brings your readings higher. And yep, it actually took her readings higher. The person now had a normal blood pressure after having a low reading. So I was like floored. I was like, my goodness, this is like beautiful. This is really good. So yeah, the husk as well, Eddie, and the whole thing. You grind the whole thing. So I was like really impressed. So I said, okay, now I proved it with black cardamom. Then I got green cardamom. So now I'm going to do the testing with green cardamom, because there's black cardamom, there's green cardamom. So I did it with green. The results were identical. Then I said, okay, I'm going to do it with green cardamom oil, because you can also get oil from Arab stores here, Indian stores, that we can use in the cooking. So I said, okay, 12 drops of oil for me. And if there's another person who's smaller height, smaller weight, 6 drops for them. So I tested it with the oil today. I did the oil test today, and my goodness, 1 hour later, I had the lowest reading on my blood pressure today. I was like, my goodness, 117 systolic pressure? I couldn't believe it. I was like, this has gone really low. I mean, not low as in dangerously low, but low as in, it's like you're 18 years old, your blood pressure at 18 or something. So I was very, very impressed. This is personal results. This is not mumbo jumbo they'll sell you out there, but I have personally tested it. If you have blood pressure related issues and you're taking statins, stop. Stop your statins. Start taking 1 spoon of the powder every day in the morning, and if you have severe blood pressure issues, then in the evening. Take 2, 1 in the morning, 1 in the evening. And if because what I would say is, if you're dependent on statins, then maybe reduce it, halve your medicine. Halve your medicine and take this. Prove it to yourself, and you will see that my results will conclude with you as well. You will see that the results are there. Now, when you see the results, I suggest you drop the entire statin altogether, because what's going to kill you is not the blood pressure, but what's going to kill you is the statin. That will kill you because it will affect every part of your endocrine system, and it will take you down. So be very careful of what you do with your life, because your life is in your hands. And doctors are not going to worry about how much statin they're giving you, because they think they're doing a favor to the industry. Well, Olivier, what I'd like you to do, Olivier, is go and get yourself some black cardamom. They are readily available from many Indian, Pakistani stores. Readily available, and they're very cheap. You might pay 2 or 3 euros at most for it. Get those, grind a few, and also look for oil. If you can get the oil, buy the oil as well. So then you grind them in the morning, small teaspoon of cardamom, and then take your blood pressure before and take your blood pressure after 1 hour. Take it before and then wait an hour after you've taken this black cardamom, then take your blood pressure. You will see for yourself that your blood pressure will substantially go down, substantially. That's what I've noticed with myself. I mean, I'm not high blood pressure case. I'm not. But I operate at a kind of different frequency to pretty much everybody. My blood pressure could be 140 or 137 over 90, and I'm okay with that because, I'm fine. I'm not like, the doctors tell you 90 is second level hypertension. That's total, horse shit. This is not high level hypertension. So that's what they tell you. But like I said, right, I'm a different case altogether. So I have noticed, right, my blood pressure can fluctuate from 120 over 80 to anywhere above 137. The upper one, the lower one can go up to 90, even up to 92. Then it can go back down and all that. So it can fluctuate different during the different part of the day. But what I noticed the most is after taking this little, spice, my blood pressure dropped by about, my goodness, about 12 to 15 on the systolic side. I mean, I've never seen my blood pressure reading at 117 on the top side, never in my life. My reading's always been 120, 124, 126, those kind of readings at the top level. I've never seen my reading at 117, and today I saw that. I was like, wow, this stuff is really magic. So I would suggest you do that. Now, you may end up sticking with the oil because it's easier to take. You just take, 12 drops of oil if you're an adult. Look at your height and weight. If you're a 200-pound adult, if your height and weight is 200 pounds, take 12 drops into water. Just mix in water and drink. That will affect you immediately. Now, if you're an adult of, say, 120 pounds, if that is what your weight is, if you're a woman or a man of 120 pounds, then reduce those drops to a half. Do not take 12 drops of oil, take 6 drops of oil. Now remember, this is a spice. There is absolutely no harm from taking extra of this or taking less of this. There's zero side effects. Because it's a spice at the end of the day, and it hasn't killed Indians yet, or Pakistanis, or Bangladeshis, or Sri Lankans who all eat it. So therefore, this is an amazing spice, amazing results. So I'm really surprised that people don't know about this. It's awesome. I think it's absolutely phenomenal. I was floored by the results. And this is not just my results. I had another person doing it, so I could actually randomly check because my readings were coming in extremely, they're like, I was kind of fluctuating between 137, 140, 145, and then boom, right, straight down, right, at 120, 124. That's amazing. And so the other experiment I did, which is something that you may want to try as well, and I tried it on mine, was I took raw garlic. Raw garlic that comes at Costco, you see these in big bottles in Costco. It's raw and it's ground, and they have some vinegar in it maybe or something. So what I did, I took a spoon one day. I took a spoon of that, like a small teaspoon, boom, and just chew it up and I eat it. And I 1 hour later I checked my blood pressure. It went boom, straight down. Really impressive with the garlic as well. Now garlic gives you results instantly too. Only problem with garlic you're going to find that if you're going to the office, it's going to be, are you trying to keep away Dracula or something? So be careful about that because it does have the garlic breath. So with that, if you favor garlic, because garlic also works, it's also really good. If you favor garlic, my suggestion then to you is to take garlic, maybe try the capsule form because they're odorless. Try it with those. I haven't tried it with garlic capsules, although I do have some in the house. Maybe I will try them with the garlic capsules as well, and I haven't yet. And so one day I'm going to have to take garlic capsules, take 2 capsules and see if the result is the same as with fresh garlic. Personally, I'm inclined to think that my result will not be the same. However, I need to test it, and before I say that, so I will definitely test that. I will test it one day with garlic as well. Because there was an issue that when I was taking moringa, and moringa has, it has, vitamin C and some other stuff in there, and it's also touted as a good herb for many things. So a couple of days I mixed moringa, but then I was like, am I mixing results? So today there was no moringa in my drink. It was only green cardamom, and my results were excellent. The blood pressure, it was the lowest blood pressure reading I have read in my life that I have received today. And I was like, wow, this is something. This is amazing. So I don't think moringa lowers your blood pressure, but I believe that it may help. But personally, my feeling with moringa is good for other things, but not. I wouldn't take it for blood pressure alone, because I don't think moringa is going to do the job there. But I do believe that garlic, and I do believe that cardamom are the wonder herbs, wonder spices that will do it. Now, I don't know, because I don't know how people take statins, whether they take 2 a day. Olivia, do you take statins as 2 a day? Is it 1 a day, or is it 1 3 times daily? How you prescribe that? Or is it when you get a high blood pressure you have to take it? I really 2 a day. Okay. So is that like you take it in the morning and the evening, or is it just one time? In the morning. Okay, so this is what you do, Olivia. Don't take, tomorrow morning, don't take your statin in the morning only. And just go straight for if you can find the cardamom oil or the whole husk with the seeds, grind it and take that 1 small spoon in the morning. Then take the blood pressure reading and then report back next week to me. Also, write me an email, and then we'll take this back in an email, and we'll talk over in email how to manage your blood pressure. I think I can manage your blood pressure without your statins, and if there is an issue, by all means, if there's an issue, you can take your statins, but I don't think you're going to need to. I have many I have many other products in my knowledge that can help with blood pressure other than this, but this was just a test. I just wanted to test it because I had read ancient documents on cardamom seeds and cardamom husk that is really, really good for blood pressure, and I was like, I need to test this for myself, and so I did. So that's the medicine front. And on the testimony front, I wanted to read you a testimony which I was very happy to receive from one of my students. And my student actually told me that she wrote me a little email yesterday, and she told me I have some testimonies to share. And this is what she writes, and she says that I like reading and very curious about quite everything. And so one time I was interested in a nutrition book, so interested that I've already added it in my Amazon wish list. If I could buy it right away, but I would wait as usual, and I was just refrained by the author's background. Nevertheless, this book was still in my mind. She said, I did not know if it was a visualization I made intentionally or not, or was it just the intense desire. She had this intense desire that I must get this book. And then she said that Amazon is the only place which sells it. No other place sells this book, by the way. Only through Amazon. They're the only seller. So one day she goes to her local Kroger store. Those of you who don't know in England what a Kroger is a German store that they have a lot of those in America. So she goes to her Kroger store, a bit like your Aldi stores and your, Lidl stores over there in the UK. So she goes to the Kroger store, and mainly for grocery shopping. And she goes, surely as I was passing by the magazines and book aisle, and she goes, maybe I did go there twice. This last time I was passing by, I found an open book on one of the magazine shelves. When I approached closer, I knew this book did not belong to this store, and it was the exact same nutrition book that I wanted. And she said, maybe somebody left it there by mistake. So she said, or deliberately. So she went to the register checkout, and the man, did the scan. He said, this is not our book, because their store don't sell it. So she said, okay, but can I keep this book? And then he asked his manager whether she could keep this book, and they agreed. They said, yes, you can keep this book. And so this way, she ended up producing a manifestation just by acquiring this book in a Kroger store of all places. Now that was one manifestation that she had. Another one she wrote about was another book one that Amazon basically sold that book for $17, and she went to one of the thrift stores and she found it there for $2.52 in a thrift store, and it happens to be that the thrift store one was almost a new copy, almost a new. Devorah, for your question of valerian, I cannot answer that. I'd have to look into it. I don't know if it's good for insomnia or not. So, having said that, I will tell you what is good for insomnia in a second, but let me finish this story, because otherwise, I get sidetracked and then I won't be able to answer the other people. So, having said that, this lady, this student of mine, she was able to manifest two things. Now, the key, which I believe is the key here, was the intense desire. She had the intense desire to have this thing, and it produced that. Eddie saying that, Devorah, I found valerian and other herbs like passion flower and hops is good with relaxing. Great, thanks for that, Eddie. Now, so having said that, there is something that is very good for sleeping, Devorah, and that is magnesium, and there is called Natural Calm. Natural Calm is a product you can buy from eBay or Amazon, and it is very, very good for relaxing you and making you good, sleep good. So, moving on, as I was saying that, so this student said, and she also gave testimony that the intense desire got her this. The other thing that she pointed out, that I was listening to your lottery, there was a while ago that I sent her a lottery, winner, little lottery winner. It was a little subliminal I made. I didn't give it to everybody. I only gave it to a few people to test it out. And it was one I gave her, and she was listening to it every day. And she said that recently she got some inheritance from her friend, because she's from France, so she got some inheritance coming out of France. So Baruch Hashem Yahweh, and she said, you know what, that little recording that you gave me, I listened to it every day, and I believe that that's what caused me to receive this little inheritance I received from some grandmother in France. So, what is the point? Self-talk. So today we will focus on self-talk, because what I do is when I give you these audios, the purpose, I give you these meditations, and before I go into the meditations, our Parsha today, by the way, is Parsha Tazria, and Parsha Tazria is all about uncleanness, ritual impurity, and so on and so forth. In chapter 12 of the book of Leviticus, which is a book of the priests, it says, and Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, speak to the children of Israel, saying, if a woman has conceived and given birth to a child, then she shall be unclean 7 days. According to the days of the separation for her infirmity shall she be unclean. So the whole chapter here discusses uncleanness, ritual impurity for a woman who has given birth. Then it comes to verse 6, and it talks about that after the days of her purifying, she should take a lamb for the first year for a burnt offering, or a young pigeon, or a turtle dove for a sin offering, to the door of the tent of the appointed times to the Kohen priest. Now, a lot of people were befuddled by this word sin offering. See, the problem is this: when you think of sin, like the woman has done something so awfully wrong that she's a sinner, and the answer is it's not talking like that. And a lot of times Christians, Jews, world over, been wrestling with this verse. Well, what sin did the woman commit? And the only sin they could find is that, oh, maybe she, did something wrong in the garden. They go back to the primordial woman, Chava, Eve. But actually, that is not even the case. Absolutely, luxury class is to do with missing the mark. The whole idea behind this sin is not that she did some wicked act. She did something that was totally out of the blue. She ate a bat or something. She didn't do that. Basically, she actually simply missed the mark. And in order for her not to miss the mark, these so-called, offerings were brought in to restore her back so she doesn't miss the mark. So don't see this as some kind of a, big deal, ritual impurity, and I'm not going to touch her and all that. Don't look at it like that. This is perfectly normal. All women who go through birthing process will have that, and they will be ritually impure. Yes, if you touch them, you're ritually impure for the period, or depending on what kind of flow, if it's a monthly flow, you're impure for 7 days. Literally impure. But do not class this as some wicked act. It's not. It's just simply impurity. And it goes by itself. You don't need to do nothing. After 7 days, it disappears by itself. So if it's a regular impurity, it will disappear by the evening by itself. So again, nothing to worry about over there. So again, the whole idea behind that is to miss the mark, which is key. And the idea of the offerings wasn't some appeasement of, some deity out there that, wants to kill some birds and some animals and to be appeased. It wasn't that. The idea simply there is that is to restore you so you can produce the best results for yourself. In other words, manifestation. Everything is geared towards manifestation in Bnei Israel. And a lot of people don't know that. But that's where we are going, and that's where we are. So with that, I want to come to the words of self-talk. Now, King David, throughout the Bible, he speaks about meditation. He talks about his meditation for the Word of God, and you read about this word meditate, meditating the Word of God, and you read it in the book of Habakkuk. You read it in the Psalms, where it says, I will meditate in the morning and I will meditate in the evening, etc. So, and then it talks about, I meditate on you in the watches of the night in Psalm 63, verses 5 to 6. What does it mean, I meditate on you in the watches of the night? So, again, this is my fellow students and my fellow listeners. This is all to do with manifestation, manifesting. So what he's meditating on is this, because he's on his bed, right? He's on his bed. So what the heck is a king doing on his bed meditating? What, is sitting on his bed and with his legs crossed or in a lotus position? No, it's talking about self-talk. This is talking about self-talk. Self-talk is when King David is telling himself how great is the God he serves and how great is he through that God that he serves. So it's a type of self-talk. Now, King David would be saying something to the effect of, I'm a great king. I'm the best king of the land. I'm a great warrior. Those are the words that King David would be using. So self-talk is critical and self-talk is imperative for your success. It's another way to manifest. You see, imagination is God. Imagination is one way to manifest, and the other way to manifest is self-talk. Now, I think it was a while ago, maybe last month, if you recall, not last month, sorry. It was maybe, 2, 3, 4 months ago that I spoke about self-talk, or maybe even longer. And I said that, you should record your audios, your lists. Your list should be in an audio recorded on your phone, or your laptop, whatever device you carry, MP3 player, and you should listen to it repeatedly. Now what happened, what happens is that things get missed. I say one thing and then, the people that I'm trying to teach, they go off on another tangent and they do another thing. So every time that I give you something, it does not mean that you replace it with the previous instructions. You see, because I didn't say that. Like, people say, well, what do I do with the Siddur now? Does it mean I don't read the Siddur? Of course not. Of course you read the Siddur. Of course you do your prayers. Of course you sit down and you do your prayer at the meals. It doesn't mean you do away with that instruction. So again, people are totally taking it the wrong way. Did I say do away with the Bible? Did I say do away with the Siddur? No. They are still as important as ever. As ever. As part of your daily routine, daily prayers, daily, giving gratitude to God. Very important. So must do those. Now, what about the self-talk? Well, if I gave you 10 meditations, if I gave you meditation for grounding, I gave you for chakra cleaning, I gave you for, attracting money, etc., then which one do you do? Well, here is where you have to decide. If you're somebody who has suffered from illness, then you must always do the grounding if you suffered from illness, because grounding is so very important for your body. Only takes a maximum about 6-7 minutes. Then after that, you can do the money one too. Now the chakra cleaning, I advise the people that do chakra cleaning, meditation, not to do it every day. They can do it once a week. There are certain meditations that you only need to do once a week. Like, for instance, the meditation with the 7 phase. Now, that's a longer meditation. It can take, 18 to 20 minutes. Now, some of you may not have that 20 minutes. I mean, I'm pretty sure nowadays you do, because you're all locked down. So nowadays you have 20 minutes. So yes, you can do it nowadays. But if you were busy and you were going about your day and you thought, you know what, I have 20 minutes of this, 7 minutes of that, and 5 minutes of this, these 3 meditations, if I queue them up, that's about 40 minutes. Okay, it's a lot for some people. So what you might want to do is leave the 7 phase for once a week. Maybe on a Sunday, you have more time on a Sunday and you do it on a Sunday. And maybe the other ones, like the grounding, if you've been ill, you do the grounding daily. And if you're not an ill person, and you're not trying to heal other people either, then you don't need to worry about the grounding so much, but then you go straight on to the activation of the third eye. Maybe that's a very important one to you, to activate your third eye so you can manifest quicker. So you see, each person will have their own preference to what works for them and what is their need. Because one person may say, you know what, health is very important to me. I want to be really healthy, so they can do their grounding. Right? Another person might say, money is very important to me. I need more money in my life. They must do the money meditation. One person might say, I'm having difficulty with visualizing. I'm having difficulty with receiving things. Then you must do the activation, power activation, so you can get visualizing working for you, imagination working for you. Now, me speaking with some of my students, I realized that some of them had dropped the previous instructions for the new instructions, and that I said was never the case. Do not drop previous instructions. Now, coming back to the self-talk. So self-talk was something I gave you, and it was not intended for 2 weeks or 2 months. It was intended for life. Let me repeat it. The self-talk is intended for life. I read a testimony. There was this book that I happened to be sitting in my Kindle, and I didn't even know it was there until I saw it. It's like, what is this book? I don't remember buying this book. When did I get this one? So I don't even remember when I got it, to be honest. And I just happened to see it 2 days ago. And I said, let me read it. And the book's title is What to Say, by Shad Helmstetter. Is a PhD doctor, and he written this book, What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. That's the title of the book. What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. I looked at this book and I was like, when did I get this book? Don't remember. Honestly, I don't remember when I got it. And I never read it before. So 2 days ago, in fact, day before yesterday, I went through the whole book in about 2 hours. Just read the whole thing. And it was talking about self-talk. Now, what was interesting in that book that really caught my eye was that there was a testimony of a man in there who is in his maybe 80s, and he came in to visit this doctor, this professor, and he said, I came to give you a testimony that I have been listening to your he produces self-talk audios as well, this professor. And so he said, I've been listening to your self-audio for 20 years. Listen to this, for 20 years. I have people here, right, sadly to say, I have people here who do not follow my instructions. They listen to them from one ear and it goes out the other. They'll do it for 1 week, and 2 weeks later, are you doing it? Oh, no, I moved on to something else. I'm doing something else now. That's the sad part. Those people will not manifest their desires who do that, because they're jumping from ship to ship. They're drinking from too many different waters. Your self-talk audio must be listened to every day and consistently. So this man, this elderly gentleman that went to this Professor Shad, he basically turned around and said to him, I have been listening to your audio for 20 years. And he said, I have a son. He said, my son was about 10 or 12 years old when I started listening to your audio. And my son listened to it as well. Not as in actively, he was passively listening to it. In other words, this man was playing the audio in his house, kind of like a TV player. He was playing it. And his wife was listening to it. His son was listening to it. Then his son grew up on it. Then his son's son was listening to it. In other words, he said, my family's life, after listening to the audio for, promoting yourself, making yourself better financially, getting your desires, he said, it has never been the same. He said, we have a whole generation. This is the part of the testimony I really liked. He said, we have a whole generation of positive family and positive life. He said, in my family, we have a whole now generation of positive family, positive life, and positive results. Just by self-talk. So just by self-talk, they were able to change their family's life. Not only this elderly man, but his son and the son's son, his grandson. That's the amazing part. So my point is this. When you write for yourself, I am a millionaire. When you write that for yourself, I'm a millionaire, you record it into an audio, you listen to it every day religiously. I don't care if the cows go home and the Corona 2 comes out, you still listen to it religiously. Because that is what you're asking. That is what you're going to receive. But don't think to yourself, oh, I've done it for 2 weeks, I haven't seen results. No. Oh, I've done it for 1 month, I haven't seen results. You do it consistently, you will see the results. I guarantee it that you will see the results. I have had testimony from some of my students who have been following me. They don't come over here in Paltalk. They don't even know what the hell is Paltalk. They don't even know what Paltalk is. They live in faraway places. And so they write to me and they say to me, Rabbi Simon, we have been following you for donkey's years and we do what you say and we have seen the results. Know this. I have students from faraway lands who I have never met, and maybe one day out of the blue they might send an email because they felt like it, and they tell me that, we've been following your teachings and we have seen tremendous results. So I encourage you all, don't give up after 2 weeks of study or 2 weeks of writing affirmations or writing your list. Don't give up. Continue with it. Continue. If a man can do it for 20 years and see a huge result in his family, think where you will be from here in 5 years' time. Just think about it. Where will you be in 5 years' time? And one day, I will maybe write another book. I think another book is due out in another decade time. But then I will put down testimonies of people whose lives were totally changed by just following my teachings and methods. There are people like that I don't speak about because I can't over here. It will create all sorts of, problems because they don't want to put their names out. I'm not supposed to say their names and I'm not supposed to tell you where they are because, people want their privacy and they don't want me to speak about them in those terms to tell you which countries they're in. So I like to keep their privacy. I like to respect their names and places and so on and so forth. But maybe in 10 years' time, when the news is 10 years old, maybe then I'll go back to them and say, can I write about this? And at that point, they might say, yeah, sure, go ahead, you can write about us, but don't give our names. So then I will be able to tell you some fantastic results that you will be blown out of the water when you hear that. So, and these are through my methods that I've taught them. And these people were not always in Torah, by the way. They actually came into Torah after they saw the results. So think about that. So it is tremendous, right? What I'm seeing tremendous change, and I'm writing my book. Bullseye is going to be the name of my new book. It's called Bullseye, and what's the secondary title to it? Let me just see. I've got it over here somewhere open. If I can find it. Bullseye: The Law of Manifestation. Yeah, Bullseye: The Law of Manifestation will be the next released book. It's not yet ready, but it is going to have chock-a-block. It's going to talk about things that work and things that don't work. In other words, there's a lot of information. Let me be kind to the people out there. There's a lot of information on the internet, but a lot of it does not work. So I speak about information out there that doesn't work and information that will work. So that way you cut to the chase and you don't do 10 other things that don't work, but you do the one that works because it has consistent results. So I would definitely be, this book is now, written in anger. It's been written in anger, but I have to slowly bring information into it as my testing and as my results go, because whilst I'm writing each chapter of this book, I'm testing things, new things that I haven't spoken about here, and I'm looking at the results. I'm asking my students to do them so I can gauge the results from other students as well, so that it's not biased in the sense that, oh, I did it and it worked for me, but it needs to work for 3 other people who did it as well. So therefore, I'm writing that based on other people's results too. Then I can say, you know what, 4 people tested this and 4 out of 4 got it. Or 4 people tested this and 3 out of 4 people got it. So that way we can, do it based on good statistical results. So there's no point me teaching you something that doesn't work, and then you like, what the heck, the rabbi taught us this and it just don't work. Now let me give you an example of something that don't work. Tapping. Tapping is another one that you can do it, but it doesn't always work. So it's a poor results. I have not seen good results from tapping. So I don't care what people say on the internet, but it doesn't have good results. So that's something that I do not teach people to tap. Because a lot of people, I've tested it on myself, and I've tested it on other people. It has produced, 0 results. Nobody said to me that through tapping I got $100,000. So it doesn't work. Don't waste your time with tapping. Don't listen to all those so-called fake testimonies out there that it worked for me and I got a $50,000. No, it's all rubbish. It doesn't work and it don't deliver. So these are the kind of things I want to talk about in the book and say it does not work. It has been tested, not just by myself, by some other students. It didn't produce a result. Because it didn't produce a result, it's dropped out of the equation altogether. So there's a lot of fads like that, a lot of fads. And a lot of these fads, and I'm just giving you one example of tapping. There are others too. But again, I'm not going to cover the entire, gamut. There's too many things to cover. But I will tell you this, that some of these things that are illustrated on the internet and people are trying to sell you programs, they don't work. They don't work. Okay? So, therefore, the Sabbath is all about the well-being and the success of the people of Israel. So, therefore, random person, since you become a judge onto others, now you've only made a judgment onto yourself. So, having said that, the idea behind this thing, now let me give you another point behind the Sabbath. Behind the Sabbath, this religious nuts out there that want you to believe that God wants to confine you in a room and God wants to keep you in a room and locked up, and that way you're going to bless, is totally in error. This is not the idea of the Sabbath. The idea of the Sabbath is you sit down, you talk about the Torah, and you do what is right regarding Torah. So point being in case, the idea of the Sabbath is not to lock people down and just be stuck in a dwelling as we are right now, locked down. Look what's happening. Look how many families are about to break up. The president was saying, yes, there is, the lockdown, and yes, but there are people are dying outside, and he said people are dying inside. He gave this little hint that people are dying inside. What does it mean, dying inside? Is that people are going to be so close to proximity of somebody, because I was listening to Governor Cuomo in one of his speeches that he gave, and I really liked the guy. I thought, intelligent man, Governor Cuomo. And he said one thing. He said, look, there are families, when you get a week off and they are together and it's like honeymoon time, for 1 week. But he said after 1 week, the honeymoon is over and now comes the disaster. So he said, so we are concerned about that too, that, families together in close proximity for way too long, and it may cause all sorts of family problems. In other words, divorce, abuse, domestic abuse. So therefore, yeah, absolutely, Rabbi Kefa, they all want to be an expert on the law of Moses, but few want to actually listen and apply the way it should be. So my point on this luxury class, Exodus 16:29, I definitely can comment on it. Yes. Let me just have a quick look at it. 16:29. 29 speaks about, let's see. So it talks about Yahweh has given you the Sabbath. Therefore, He gives you on the 6th day the bread of 2 days. Abide ye every man in his place. Let no man go out of his place on the 7th day. Now, let me explain what a place means. You see, everybody's a Torah expert, and everybody wants to teach me instead of learning. They want to teach. And I'm not saying that about you, luxury class. What it actually, no, I'm not saying that about you. I'm saying this other person that came in. Oh, you're talking about the Memon on Sabbath. A total nonsensical person. He wants to teach me what we should speak about on the Sabbath and what we shouldn't. The point is this, that this is not talking about your house. A place, by the way, is a term for a city. It can apply to a city. It can apply to a field. It can apply to a state. It can apply to a country. You now see how wide this is? This is not applying to your little, 3-bedroom house. This can apply to your whole United States. Stay in your place. What does it mean? I can be anywhere in the United States. I can go anywhere in the United States on the day of the Sabbath. This is where the argument came. In Jesus' time, the argument came of what is a journey. And he said, well, what is a journey? So they argued about a Sabbath day journey. So I've just clearly illustrated to you. If you went from, if I went from Florida to California on the Sabbath, I'm permitted to travel, by the way. That place is within my domain. Now, what the rabbis did this. They said, no, your domain is only 200 meters or 2,000 meters. That, by the way, is totally false and inaccurate teaching. That is not what a domain is. Your domain is your country. Your domain is your city. And if you want to make your domain just your house, you can. But your domain is much bigger than that. So therefore, the term place can apply to a much bigger domain. So hence why it doesn't mean just get locked up in the house. It doesn't mean that. And so need to be very careful how you read and how you study and how you understand the Bible, the Torah. So this is very important. Eddie's saying, Hakohen, if we had to travel on the Sabbath, and for example, we needed a taxi and that required a credit card charge, are these contingencies permitted? Or if we're in a new place and have no food on the Sabbath, is the purchase of a meal permitted? The answer to both of those questions is yes. You are in a, let's say, in the first place, let me talk about the credit card. To a lot of people, that might appear like a financial transaction. No, it's not. Technically, it's not a financial transaction, because in the old days, if you did a financial transaction, and this is where the Torah is speaking from, the same old place, is you would take your money, your silver, you put your silver in a basket or in a, tightly bound in a little piece of cloth, depending how much silver you're giving, and you take it and you hand it to the other person. Here's the piece of silver, or we're gonna buy 10, let's say horses. We're gonna buy 10 horses. I need 10 horses worth of silver, right? So I put it on a donkey and I carry it on a donkey or a camel, and I go to the other person's place and I say, hey man, here is the 10, horses silver. Now that is a transaction, because you have to go from your house to this other man's house on the Sabbath and do that transaction. That is not permitted. That is definitely not permitted. But what if the other man was sitting with you in your house and he had this little machine, contraption, and he said, here is my little contraption. By the way, this is Wi-Fi. And all you got to do is pay it with a credit card, and the money will be taken from your account on Monday, and it won't show up till Tuesday or whatever. And so we can sit here and do this. And yes, you could do that in theory. It will not be revocation or the breaking of the Sabbath. You could put your card in, you're sitting in your house and you put your card in this Wi-Fi machine, and it sends the transaction to your bank, but the bank does not process it immediately. In other words, the bank does not charge you for that transaction till the bank opens Monday. Now the Sabbath is Saturday, by the way. The bank opens on Monday. Now, is that permitted or not permitted? The answer is obvious. you're actually not doing a financial transaction till technically Monday. So yes, it could be done. In your case, you could take a taxi and pay a credit on the credit card, and that doesn't get processed till Monday. You know that, and I know that, Eddie, because I've worked in banks my whole life, so I know how they work. So having said that, you could get away with riding a car on a Sabbath. You could. But if you're in Israel, if you're with the ultra-Orthodox, these long, 10-foot beards, if you're with an ultra-Orthodox family, they've got 10-foot beard, they will say to you, no, don't even start your car. Don't even start your car. Don't even go outside your house. And make sure you buy kosher toilet paper. Because, they should already be cut in small pieces. Don't even cut that. That is a kind of garbage that you will learn from long-bearded rabbis, which is actually not Torah, by the way. Torah doesn't say that. So be very wary of who you listen to. So, having said that, what if you had no food on the Sabbath? You are 100% permitted to buy food on the Sabbath to save your life. If it meant that if you didn't eat on time, and it could cause you an illness, it could cause you a problem, it could cause life, you might say, well, I can stay hungry all day long and all day strong and nothing will happen. That's a different matter. But what if you're a diabetic? Absolutely luxury class. What if you're a diabetic? You could be getting a serious problem on the day. So yes, you should go and buy food on the day and eat it. Now, technically, if you went to Walmart and you bought your food, and they may say, oh, you broke the Sabbath. But by the way, you're allowed to break the Sabbath to save your life or save somebody else's life. You're allowed to do that. So it's no problem. So that is the specification of the Sabbath. Now, same way, when Jesus was having this argument with the Pharisees and the Sadducees, and they were talking about, saving an animal, and he was saying, yes, he said, if the animal is stuck in a ditch, and it just fell in a little hole, and whether it's the Sabbath or not, you go and save that animal. You're supposed to go save that animal. You don't want to say, oh, it's only 12 o'clock and Sabbath finishes at 6 at night and 7 o'clock I'll go and try to save the animal. Or the next day when the light comes up, the animal would be dead. So guess what? You're not breaking the Sabbath by going to save the animal. That means you're going to have to take some rope. You don't have to take donkeys. You may have to take some ox to pull this ox out if it's so heavy. So guess what? You're using muscular energy. You're using a contraption which might, the old day ox. What is the old day ox? Using a crane. That's the analogy of a crane or a bulldozer. So using a crane or a bulldozer, that's the old analogy of an ox versus today's modern crane. Modern bulldozer is actually the analogy of 10 oxes. So you're using oxes, you're using a bulldozer on the Sabbath, you're using a crane on the Sabbath, and what did Jesus argue about? That it is permitted. In other words, he was a rabbi, he was a teacher, and he argued with the other people that it is permitted on the Sabbath to save somebody's life, to go out and do these things. So, Torah also says the same thing. Life. What does God tell us? Choose life. In Deuteronomy chapter 13, verse 19, God says, I set before you life and death. Choose life. Well, what are you going to do now? You're going to listen to some 10-foot bearded rabbi and say, who tells you that, hey, you're not even supposed to turn that engine on. Because if you turn the engine on, maybe you lit a fire. By the way, you're allowed to light a fire on the Sabbath as well. Take it from me. You're allowed to light a fire as long as that fire is not to do business. In other words, you're not lighting a fire to produce, 10,000, injections or something, right? Or you're producing, 10,000 plates that you're going to sell, or widgets or something. So that is the fire we're speaking about. If you are lighting a fire to light a furnace to produce metal plates that are going to fit on the border wall to make a wall, that is work. That is not permitted on the Sabbath. But if you were lighting a fire to light your candle in your living room, you're allowed to light that fire on the Sabbath. You are 100% allowed to light that fire. If you are using electricity, you're 100% allowed to use electricity. Absolutely, Rabbi Kefa, you can use electricity. If you were going to light your furnace on the Sabbath, 100% you're allowed to light your furnace on the Sabbath. Because it's for heat. If you are living in a cold climate, then you need heat. Because without heat, you could suffer all sorts of problems. So this idea, the rabbis, what they did, The Minha Rabban, the rabbinic ideas, they went way too far. All these restrictions, by the way, the Torah does not apply them. The rabbis do. So, know who you listen to. The Torah does not say that, Deborah. The Torah has been misinterpreted by Christians. Christians have misinterpreted our books, which they made it to, Pentecostals said, oh, women should not wear pants. Women should not wear jewelry because they look like men. That is absolutely wrong to say that. A woman in her setting, a woman in America, which is in her setting, in her country, American woman or a British woman is 100% allowed to wear pants or trousers and 100% allowed to wear jewelry. The Torah does not make a prohibition against that. So don't ever misinterpret the Torah. The Torah does not say that, so you're allowed to do it. Because it's a common dress. It's a common dress of your country, and you're allowed to do that. So with that, coming back to self-talk, coming back to the topic at hand, all your list, all your affirmations that you have written, whether it's 10, whether it's 100, what you need to do is to record those lists or affirmations, and you should be listening to it every night and every day. Maybe you listen to it one time in the day, you have time, and maybe you listen to it, and you should definitely listen to it when you sleep. You should definitely listen to it when you sleep. When you sleep, you should be having that plugged into your ear. If it's not plugged into your ear, then don't blame me when you don't get that manifestation which you're so desiring. Because that's another step to speed up your manifestation. So, if it's something that you can't, if you said, I have a hard time listening to a voice, then I will give you a really good company. It's called subliminalguru.com. It's a British company. You can type Subliminal Guru in Google as well. It's a British company based in London, and they do all sorts of subliminals. They do audio, spoken ones. They do the stream sound. They do the ocean, the blank. They do guitar. They do all sorts of sounds, basically. Stream, rain, different sounds. And what they do is they embed the audio recording into the stream sound or into the ocean sound. And when you buy, they are selling one audio for about $16. And if you buy two, then the second one goes to $14. And they also, when you sign up for the newsletter, they will give you 2 audios free. So I would highly, highly recommend that you look at Subliminal Guru. I don't have, I don't personally do any business with them other than I have bought audios from them, and I'm very impressed. I've listened to the audios in the Western, hemisphere from American companies, and I've listened to the British ones. I would give the British ones thumbs up. They're the best ones. So British ones from Subliminal Guru, thumbs up for them. They're really, really good because they come at you from different angles. You hear them from different parts of your brain. The way they use their pitch, it's really, really good. And it's the same one that I remember I told you about this Subliminal 360. And a lot of us have that Subliminal 360 that flashes the affirmation at you on the screen. You type it in there, then it flashes you that affirmation on your screen every 2-3 seconds. And it's in the middle of your screen or in some part of your screen randomly. Depends which settings you choose. Excellent, excellent program. Rabbi Kefa has it. I have it. Some other people have it too. So play that. When you play that, it flashes at your screen and it trains your subconscious mind. And it trains your subconscious mind to receive your results. So again, very, very good. The second best part of Subliminal 360, which is also from the same company, is this. That you can type your affirmations in, you can take it to audio, you can record your own audio, whatever you desire, and then you can add, and they give you a list of music. They say you can have ocean, you can have rain, you can have acoustic, so they give you different types of music. And you can choose, I want ocean or I want acoustic, and you can put your subliminal right into an ocean music, and you can bring it out, and then it's saved. And, it's absolutely brilliant. It's really good. So I would highly recommend that you, if you can't afford that software, it's a little bit on the pricey side. It's about $100, but they do give you discount on it. if you are on their list, if you're on their signed up on their site, sometimes they offer you 50% off. They do have those discounts coming in to your email. So just sign up, and when you see the price is right for you, then you buy it for yourself, and you're good to go. Now, Simcha, you're just saying bath. Are you talking about when to have the bath, your shower, or are you talking about the abundance bath? Because just saying bath, it could mean 10 different things. If you're talking about the abundance bath, that is something you should be doing at least once. And there are a number of oils that are recommended in my first book, and you need to get those oils. Neroli was one of them, neroli. Florida water was another ingredient that you needed to add into the bath, and then there was also flowers, petals, fresh flower petals. If you can get those, put those in the bath, and then you speak into the water before you get into the water. And there was also some salt, by the way, as well. So there is a whole list that is mentioned in the book. I suggest you get that, and you get to work with your abundance bath. At least do it once. It's in my book, The Law of Attraction versus the Perfect Law. It gives a whole lot of detail about it, how to do it. So I'd suggest, if you haven't got it, you go find that on Amazon. And it has a lot of other instructions as well. Good instructions that will help you. So that suggestion there, until my second book comes out, which will be more kind of fine-tuned towards systematic testing and results, and what works and what doesn't work, so that you don't waste time on trying something out only to find out that you did it 50 times and it didn't work. So 555 don't work. So don't waste your time with it. So having said that, this is kind of 444 don't work, 333 don't work. That's what I mean. So these are the kind of things that are touted on the internet that don't work. In my testing, they have not produced results. So don't waste your time with them. So as I said before, what works is 14 days in, 14 days out. 15 days in, 15 days out. That works every month, religiously. That will work. Okay, so with that, I'm going to pass it on to Rabbi Kefa. Have a great Shabbat, and over to you, Rabbi Kefa.
Yeah, Tadah Rabbi, if I can be heard, can I get a 1? I want all of you to know, Tadah, for your responses. I want all of you to know, if you didn't know, that Hakoin is an IT engineer. So, isn't that what they do in IT? They test everything to make sure, it's running at optimal efficiency. They use what works, and they discard what doesn't work. So, I hope you all understand this. My desire is that all of you do understand that life is a test. How many of you get that? That's shown time and time again within our Torah, is that, the Torah of Moses will test you. That testing is a part of it, isn't it? Do you get it? Put up a capital T if you get it, and it's all about testing. So this is why I'm so super excited about the books that our Kohen, is authoring and penning to really help us understand. I wrote something down during this lecture, which I think is important, and it's vital for you all to understand. Tadah for the T's, by the way. I wrote this down. You are sinless with the Kohen. Think about what I just said. You are sinless with the Kohen. You are sinless. You see, because what the Kohen is doing, and what he continues to teach us, the Kohen, the Kohanim, the sons of Aaron, Rabbi Simon Alter in particular, is he's teaching us how to be sinless. Do you get it? He's teaching us how not to miss our mark, right? Luxury class. He's teaching us how not to miss our mark. Now, whether you heed to it or not, it's on you. But think about what I just said. You are sinless with the Kohen. Now, being with them, that's a whole other lecture in itself. That means you have to, be obedient. You have to follow through with what he's telling you to do, and you don't stop. You never give up. You never give in, and you don't go for the next shiny object. Don't make yourself a fish. How many of you love fishing? If you ever went fishing, do you understand the best lures out there are those that are shiny? Because a fish, if he sees something shiny, he'll jump to the shiny object, and you can go to any Bass Pro Shop and watch this. That's why, Rabbi Zachariah will tell you, fish like shiny objects. Don't go to if you put a worm on one end and you put a shiny object on the other end in the water, and you dangle them around, the fish, more than likely, the ratio is he will go towards the shiny object more than he'll go towards the worm. So, don't always don't be a fish and want to just jump to the next shiny object. See, Rabbi Zechariah, because he's a fisherman. Rabbi Zechariah is a fisher of men, and he's a fisherman, Book of Shem. And so he's telling you, go for the shiny object. Don't run to the next shiny object when it comes to you wanting to desire things for yourself and wanting to really understand life. You see, life is a test. So what we want to go through it now. How many of you, you passed all your exams? Anybody in here has passed all the exams? No. I mean, come on, let's be realistic. You go through life, and some exams you're going to fail. But in the failure is success as well, because I wrote this down as well. What's the path to success? Now, it's going to vary between you and me and Hakohin and Rabbi Zechariah and James and Yahudi. It's going to vary. It's going to vary. Your path to success is going to vary. But what a great age that we're in right now, to where we have so many weapons in our arsenal to get to success. Even in failure, we still succeed. You understand what I'm saying? You see, because let's look at how the nations, let's look at how humanity's handled the coronavirus. How can we mention this? Switzerland is doing something totally different than what we're doing here in America, right? South Korea is doing something totally different than what we're doing here in America. France may be doing something totally different than what we're doing here in America. Do you see? So there's many different ways to combat or to reach success, or to win the battle and to win the war. You may lose some battles in the process, but in losing the battles, you gain and you win, and you gain so much experience. So the path to success is going to vary for all of us. So this is why, to have all these weapons in our arsenal, and I'm telling you, these weapons that we have, I mean, they're coming like gangbusters, aren't they? It's like here in Texas, most people just don't want one gun, they want many guns. They'll go buy another gun. And Rabbi Zechariah tell you, his arsenal of fishing. I guarantee you, if I go to Rabbi Zechariah's garage right now, I guarantee you Rabbi Zechariah has more than one fishing rod. Rabbi Zechariah, am I true? Is my guesstimation spot on? If I look in Rabbi Zechariah's garage right now, I can guarantee you he has more than one fishing rod. He has 12, for the 12 tropics. That's great. That's great. Get 13 and you'll really be on it. Many people say 13 is a bad number, but Hakohi will tell you, and I totally agree with him, 13 is a great number. 13 is a marvelous number. Many people shy away from 13. I don't. Hey, add 13 to it and you see it. He says over 100 lures. So do you see? This is the same thing. Now let's take all of this information that we just dissected, and let's put it into our success, or our path to success. Don't you want more than one avenue? You see, because what works for me may not work for you. And what's comfortable to me may not be too comfortable for you. So this is why we're given so many different, a different array, or so many different options to choose within our toolbox, or our tackle box, Rabbi Zechariah, if I may. Within our tackle box, Baruch Hashem. I tell you, I'm learning so much on so many different levels. Even when I do make mistakes, I learn. As I call it, I'm going to write a book one day, as I call it, can attest to a mistake that was made, a big bad mistake that was made, but I'm learning from that. And the mistake is going to even make me even better at what I'm trying to do and succeed at. Now, mistakes, you learn from them. Now, hopefully so that you don't make the same, my desire is that you don't make the same mistake again. And I know for some of you who have made some horrible mistakes, they stay with you, don't you? So that you don't make that mistake again and you learn from it. And they don't stay with you in a bad way, but they actually stay with you in a good way. So when you roll up on that same scenario again, you can make a totally different, a different outcome will come from, a different decision-making process will come from it, Baruch Hashem. And that's great. The path to success is going to be different for all of us. It's going to be totally different. And this is why the books that are coming, this bullseye book is really going to hone in on what works and what does not work. So it kind of gives you the cliff notes, if I may, to success and what will work for you and what will bring your desires in so that you won't sin. I tell you, we've been conditioned here in North America to think sin is just this bad thing. No, sin is that you don't meet your mark, but again, to be sinless is that you do meet your mark, whatever your mark is, whatever you desire for yourself. See, so when you see that picture, I want you all to envision and imagine a bullseye. Right now, just imagine one. And at that center mass, that's your desire. Now, what is your desire? And you put it right at that center mass. Put it right there at that center mass. Now, you're going to throw darts at it all. You're going to keep throwing darts at that bullseye until you hit center mass. Now, for any of you who've ever played darts before, what's the chances of you, when you throw your first dart, of hitting center mass? I mean, come on. The chances of that happening are very, very unlikely. But just because you don't hit center mass on the first try, does that mean you quit throwing darts? Goodness, I'm going to throw darts until I do hit that center mass. And how many of you know playing darts can get contagious, can it? Like, you may start out like not knowing about how to throw darts or even play darts. But once you begin to throw, you don't want to stop, do you? You want to continue until you hit that center mass, until you gain all those points that you need to be successful. The path to success is going to be different for all of us. Now, what I want to piggyback off of, what our Kohen was talking about, which I think is very important, and apropos to our Parsha, because our Parsha is dealing with what? Ritual impurity. And just like our Kohen said, how many of times you heard this before, maybe in Judaism, you thought ritually impure was just like, I mean, that was like God didn't like you, God didn't love you, and you're a failure, and like, you're just dirty to God, and like, oh, how do I become unritually impure? And your whole focus was on just that word, ritually impure, ritually impure. And on the surface, if you don't have any understanding, you may think ritually impure is a bad thing. It's evil and you're wicked. And you cannot come to God in that kind of way. But now that we do have an understanding of what sin really is, when we get into the meat and potatoes and we realize truly what sin really is, it's you not meeting your desires that you want as a human being on the face of this earth. For whatever reason, for you being under the wrong teacher, for you listening to the wrong person. And this is what I want to talk about today. And I titled this lecture, I am or am I? Am I or I am? This is very important to understand. This is going to be detrimental to your path to success. Am I or I am? Now, I'd like your response. Which one do you think you are? Because this is an or type situation. Am I or I am? Which one are you? Are you the I am? I mean, you guys have been sitting at the feet of the Kohen. You guys have the Kohen, so you're sinless. You have the weapons to be sinless. You have the tools to be sinless. Is it I am or is it am I? You see, because it gets deep. Because this is what, I tell you, a lot of folks will say I am, but yet they demonstrate that am I. Think about what I just said. This is out for your responses, by the way. Because everybody, lottie-dottie in this room, listening via YouTube, you should all be saying I am, I am. You don't have to come from the standpoint of am I? You see, because that already puts up a question mark. Like, you're already missing a mark. So if somebody comes up to me and says, am I this? I say you're already a failure. You coming from the failure side. You're coming from the unsuccessful side. Do you get what I'm saying? And I'm not trying to put them down, but we got to be real. We got to be real. Because the more you say, am I? You're already doubting yourself. The top of your responses are the I am. You're doubting yourself. And then you're out here seeking confirmation from somebody outside of yourself. That means you already failed. You already center chicken dinner. Do you get it? This is why our core focus is put it right back to the I am. The Master Yeshua, Jesus of Nazareth. Put the focus on the I am because that's where it is. He didn't say, am I the Messiah? He said, what do people say that I am? Baruch Hashem. I am. Baruch Hashem. You see, because in the process of you saying I am, you have to be careful and guard against the am I. Do you get it? I'm telling you, because the am I going to want to creep up on you. Like, truly, am I going to be a millionaire? Truly, Am I going to have that husband? Truly. Do you get what I'm saying? And it's easy to creep. It's real subtle. The am I is real subtle, and you find yourself asking other people. And I'm teaching my daughter this right now. She's learning this. Because she comes and and instead of finding her success and what her being and her desires for herself, she's finding her desires in other people's. So she go to other people, am I going to do this? Am I going to do this? And when other people shoot her down, she gets angry. She gets upset. She loses all of her self-worth because of what other people say. And you can take my daughter and multiply her times 1 million times over. They don't have the confidence within themselves, so they seek confidence in everybody else outside of themselves. Women don't need to go up to men and ask a man, do you think I'm beautiful? Am I beautiful? No, you say, I am beautiful, woman. You don't need to go seek that confirmation in a man. And same way with men. Men, you don't have to go asking a woman, maybe your best friend is a girl, your girlfriend, your best friend is a girl, and you go up to her and you ask her, hey, Sally, do you think I'm a handsome man? Am I handsome, Sally? Are you getting where I'm going? You see all these examples I'm putting out? You see how subtle am I can creep in on you? You have to be careful and guard against that. You have to know that you are beautiful. I am beautiful. I am successful. I am a millionaire. I don't have to go to nobody, do you think I'll ever be a millionaire? Do you think I'm a millionaire now? Because majority of the time they're going to shoot you down. And I'm so glad that they shoot you down. Because you need to be shot down. So you can realize and use that as fuel and say, oh. And you'll see a lot of successful people, they say that in their testimonies. I mean, just, sit down and watch documentaries on successful people, or interviews, or read a biography about successful people. They'll say, oh, my dad said I'll never be able to do it. My mother said I'd never be able to do it. My friends was all laughing and joking. You'll never be able to do that. You're never going to have that mansion. You're never going to have that big car. You're never going to have that beautiful woman underneath your arm. And they use that as fuel to fuel them to their success or whatever they want to do, whatever their desire is. You know what I mean? It's all in your I am. It's already within you, Miss Baha. Am I or I am? Am I? Am I successful? Am I healthy? Oh my goodness. Do you see how your energy becomes negative real quick? And just like somebody wrote, Yael, she wrote, you begin to doubt. Am I going to walk on this water? Oh, I am walking on water. Period. Full stop. So we have to guard against this. Am I? Am I worthy of the desires that I truly want? You see, you have to be careful because your logic will come in there and say, am I? Instead of I am. Am I really ever gonna? I'm doing affirmations and I'm doing my visualizations and I'm writing everything. I'm writing everything down and I got my list going. But am I wasting time? Do you see where we're going? Do you see? Eddie's saying the subliminals and list recordings at night and doing it every day helps change your subliminal. Your subconscious beliefs. Sure it does, Eddie. But just like the I am, just like the am I's come in, you need to combat that with the I am. And what better way to do that is to be consistent with your continue infusing yourself with positivity, with positive energy, with positive words. The negative is going to come out there. That's just the facts of life. You've got to balance it out. You got to have a healthy balance. The negativity is going to be there. And you have to know that you know within who? Within yourself. Not within whatever Tom, Dick, or Harry, or Sally thinks. That doesn't matter what they think. It's what you desire for yourself and what you think. And it's unfortunate that a lot of people don't desire good things for themselves when you get to the meat and potatoes. They don't. So this is why they never meet their desires and their wants and their needs and their dreams. I mean, you just have to desire it like no man's, like no woman's business. Like the woman Hakuin talking about giving a testimony with the book. I mean, she wanted that book more than anything. To the very core of her want. She wanted that book in Book of Shem. She found that book at the Winn-Dixie or whatever, at the thrift store and all these other things. Book of Shem. Don't worry about the how. Many people focus on the, well, if I'm desiring this, then how is it going to come about? Who cares? Who cares how you become a millionaire? Who cares how you found the love of your life? I mean, one man, he gave the testimony about, he had this woman that they were friends since they were young children, and he had this woman, and he always saw himself marrying that woman. Always saw himself marrying that woman. And they went their separate ways as they grew up, and they, went off to college and did their own things and had their careers and blah, blah, blah. But he always had in the back of his mind that he always saw this woman as his wife. And then they end up meeting, you know where? They end up meeting at a taco restaurant. He was getting tacos. And that's where they end up meeting. Years later. And that's when they kicked off their relationship and they end up getting married. But at a taco stand. Maybe at your Walmart. Maybe that man comes and fix your flat tire. It doesn't matter how, but it'll happen. You see, your logic wants to keep you, well, how is it going to come about? How is it going to... It doesn't matter. It is. So don't worry about the how. It is because it is. And it just is. The how, let that take care of itself. Is will take care of how. I am will take care of how. But when you're saying, am I, you're on the other end of the spectrum. And you can't come out on top. It's because you leave your desires and your wants and your needs you leave it to how the wind blows. And you need to be concrete. At the same time, you need to be fluid. But not as the wind blows. Okay, well, they said I'm not going to be able to do it, so I'm not going to be able to do it. The authority figure and whatever I'm doing says that I don't have the capacity to do it, so I can't do it. Who cares what they say? But that's what's keeping a lot of people down, is what they say. What they say. And not fully understanding that they have the capacity and the capability to do things within themselves. Everything starts within. Not without, within. The kingdom of heaven is within you. Baruch Hashem, isn't it? The kingdom of heaven is within you, not without you. You don't have to go seeking for the kingdom of heaven. It's within you. Baruch Hashem. Those that are wise will understand. The path, I wrote this down, the path to success is not through people. It is through you. And then I put in quotation marks. It is in you. So the path to success is not through people. It is in you. Not through people. It's in you. It's through you. What do you desire for yourself truly? What do you really want for yourself? You got to really, really want it. You can't nonchalant it. Because if you nonchalant it, then it'll never come to pass. Because it's nonchalant. It's not something that you really, really, really want. I really, 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 really wanted a son. I really did for many, many years, Mr. Hart. Guess what? Today I have a son. Baruch Hashem. And I kept telling myself, when I really, really wanted that son, I said, you know, universe, master, presence, when you give me this son, I'm going to name his name Nakshan. I really, really, really want this son. I really, really want this son. Now, today I have a son and his name is Nakshan. Baruch Hashem. Because that's what I really, really, what do you want more than anything? Well, you got to really want it now. And you can't give up on it and look for something shiny within 2 days afterwards. Well, I gave the son thing, I gave it a year and it didn't cut out. It didn't pan out, so I'm stopping. So I'm going to change it up and go for the next shiny thing. I really, really, really want a daughter. I really, really, really want a daughter. You know what I mean? No, I never gave up on my want because I really, really wanted it. Do you really, really, really want it? Ask yourself that. Is that what I really, really, really want? And then pursue it like no man's business or no woman's business. Pursue it. And then pounce on it. Pursue and pounce. Look at Shem. And you really, 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 really want something. What do you really, really, really want? Really, really, really. What do you really want, Mishpah? Go pursue it. When come Corona or no Corona, pursue it. What do you really, 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 really want? The world today is hampered by misunderstanding and truly not understanding something. When they read something or when somebody says something, maybe they don't get the intended meaning of what was really wanted to be conveyed or understood. And that happens time and time again. If anybody can agree with that, please put up a 1. You know, you may say something, some people take it the wrong way. Before you know it, it's just all over the place, this, that, the other, and the third, blah, blah, blah. They already, you know, they already made all these judgments based upon what you said, when that's totally not what you were meant to say or what you heard or what you thought the person was saying. I'm going to give you a great example on a national level. How many of you heard the president say, we're stopping all green card applications? All the green card applications. We're not going to let people come in our country when you say these jobs for ourselves. And how many of you heard the president? Put up a G if you heard that. Immigration. He said, we're stopping the immigration. And it's not only America that's doing this, by the way. A lot of other countries is doing this as well to protect their people. And I think it's a brilliant idea, right? He said, we're stopping all the immigration. We're going to stop the green card process. And so then the reporters start asking, well, how? Why are you doing this? You cannot. Look, the president then began to say, listen, I'm writing the details right now. Let the details come out, and then you can ask your questions. But you got to let the details come out of what I'm telling you we're going to do. But we're going to stop the green card process. And do you know, once the details came out, I tell you, everybody was like, oh, this is just, you draconian, you can't shut down and you can't close the country out to the rest of the world. Well, there's a lot of other countries doing that very, very thing, by the way. Because there's many, this is what leaders do. Leaders do this. They don't just look at, they have a bigger picture that they're looking at. They envision in a bigger picture. A better America, thus a better world. So you have to do these things, number one, to protect the people. To protect your people that you're responsible for. Number two, and there's many different examples that you can give. Number two is that when the jobs come back, you don't want to give the job to other people. Well, you know what I found out in the details is this. If you're already in America and you're applying for a green card, guess what? That doesn't apply to you. Yours is still a go. They hadn't stopped that process. What the law breaks down in details is this. Is if you're filing for a green card or you want green card status and you're outside of America, that has been delayed. But you see how people can take just afraid, well, we're shutting down the green card process. See, they take it without reading the details, or without getting to the grits and the greens, and find out exactly what the law is doing. They blow it all up and say, oh, it's draconian. You can't shut down. There's no way you can shut down America from the rest of the world. Well, we're not trying to do that. Always two ways of looking at things, Rich Bob. But the focus and the onus needs to be on always make sure you get the details. Get the details to the statement. Understand the statement, and you as this is why there's so many people that are judges that don't need to be. You heard somebody came in the room earlier talking about that person made themselves a judge, and they shouldn't be. And a lot of people are doing it out of ignorance. They put themselves in a judgment seat, and they don't even know all the facts on the ground. They don't even have all the evidence. And at the end of the day, in all due respect, they just don't know what they're talking about. They're just ignorant. They just do not know what they're talking about. But they'll shoot off statement after statement after statement, and making these comments after comments when they have no education behind the comments. You understand what I'm saying? And that happens all the time. And you have to leave humanity because you're going to run into people that are just like that, and you leave them to it. You just have to leave them to it. Excuse them away and just keep it moving. Always get the details. And see, this is why the bullseye book for the RSAHK is going to be so great, because it's going to give you just the detail. The do's and what works and what doesn't work. Because at the end of the day, that's what you want. At the end of the day, that's what President Trump wants. A president that we all supposed to be praying for, by the way. Not protesting against, but all these Christians and all these in America, you need to be praying for your president, because that's what your Bible says to do. Well, he ain't my president, Rabbi. Well, then you must not be in America. Come on, because that's what your Bible tells you to do, by the way. Not protesting against him. But we should be praying for him. That's what the president wants to do. He's trying to protect the people. Trying to protect his people. Because that's what he's been elected to do. He's been put at this high station to do that, to protect these people. All the other leaders around the world, same thing. They're trying to protect their people, protect their nation. And take care of their people, take care of their nation. It's a beautiful thing to do. Beautiful thing to do. Instead of throwing out all kind of names and slander against someone when you don't even have the facts. You don't even have the details. How many of you heard the statement, the devil's in the details? Because it's the details. That's where you find out the nitty-gritty. It's in the details. So it would be wise for us to just take some step backs and look at the details. Take this example and apply it in your desires. Another key word. Today is the word of the D's. And your desires. The bullseye book and the book on the perfect law versus the law of attraction is giving you the details, the nitty-gritty of how, what, to meet your marks, to be happy. I'm pretty sure it's a high mark for all of you. It's to have peace and to be happy. To have peace in your life and to be happy and to be healthy. We can go back to our H attitudes. But that's default setting within humanity. Put religion to the side. Everybody wants to be happy. I say that. But again, there's some people that's happy being unhappy. And you leave them to it. You put them to the side. These are things that we have to consider. Am I or I am? Never come from the standpoint. And when you see this, because believe me, am I is going to try to creep in like no man's business. Am I really doing what's right in the sight of God? No, you should be saying, I am doing what's right in the sight of God. I'm telling you, Mishpachah family, listen to what I say here. You on YouTube, you are truly sinless with the Kohen. You're sinless. The sons of Aaron put you in a sinless state because they give you all the weapons that you need to be successful. Not a sinless. Well, you can't talk about success on the Shabbat. Well, we're going to talk about sin? No, we're going to talk about being a success. We're going to talk about being successful. Meet your desires. And what you may see as success, some of you, success is not $1 million. It's not $1 billion. Success is a wonderful husband. That you're a success if you have a wonderful. Success is that wonderful wife that you're successful. Some of you say, Rabbi, I'm successful already. I say, Baruch Hashem, continue being successful. Some of you, success is that nice home. Some of you, health is success. Being healthy, you're successful, Baruch Hashem. And I say, Baruch Hashem to that. And how apropos that we're talking about being ritually impure. What's the opposite of being ritually impure? Being pure. And when we see the ritually impure stage, where's the first place that our ancestors that we run to? We run to the Kohanim. We run to the sons of Aaron, the priesthood, so that we can get what? Pure. That's why I made the statement. Is that you're sinless if you're with the Kohen. Do you get it? And it's so true. But again, you have to follow through. And you have to be persistent. In my case, Nakshan didn't come in 2 or 3 years. It took 5 or 6 years, 7 years. Nakshan came to my son. And I wanted my son more than any man's business. But it took time, and I had to continue to be persistent and not give up and not give in. You understand? Now, for some of you, it may not take that long. And I say, Baruch Hashem. But I cherish every one of those years, and I chalk it all up as success, not failure. Because it didn't happen at this amount of time. There goes logic. Logic going to put a time on it. Just be I am. Just be I am now. Don't put a time on it. I have a son now. I don't even look at all those years when I didn't have a son. Because I have a son now. I live on now. I am a father. That's beautiful, isn't it? But it's so true. But many people still want to be caught up in the religious baggage, and they bring it with them, unfortunately. We're telling you to leave the baggage at the station. Get on the train and take the journey that you want for yourself. The journey of success, the journey of happiness, the path to success, the path to happiness. It's a road. It's talked about time and time again in our books as a road. It's a path that you're on, right? Life is so beautiful if you're going down the right path. Some of us take detours in life, and so be it. With the detour, can you not get back on the path? You sure can. I mean, you put up a D if you had some detours in your life. And come on, man. But again, yeah, you had some detours, but again, it put you right there. And he said a couple of D's. And then so be it. But again, and again, now that you're on the path, those detours have made you stronger, haven't they? To double your responsibility. Because you're a human being, so I know you had some B's on there, some B's. That's a part of it. That's a part of it, right? And those detours have put you on, now that you're back on the path, have made you even stronger. So when the next detour comes, I mean, the probability of you hopping on that detour again and going down that, is slim to none. Number one, you have the Kohen in your gate. And then number two, you're on the path and you've been there, done that. Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem. That's the beauty of it. So don't knock it. Some people get on the detour and they just dwell on the detour. Put yourself back on the path. Find the path once again and continue on. Put the detour, put it in your backpack on your journey, in your travel sojourner. Don't stop traveling. Don't ever stop traveling. Some people say, well, since I'm on the detour, then that stops all my travels. I will never find the path again. Am I worthy to find the path? There goes that I am. That am I. Totally degrading yourself. Totally, instead of infusing yourself, you defuse yourself. Instead of injecting positivity, you inject negativity. And before you know it, just like someone stated earlier, then the doubt comes in. I think it was Yael, woman of 10. She like doubt. You begin to doubt. And the worst doubt out there is self-doubt. Even one of the rabbis of the master, they even had a name. The Christians called him Doubting Thomas. He was always doubting, right? That's a part of it. That's a part of it. But you have to be stronger. You have to recognize it. Just like you have to recognize those detours that come. Now that you're on the path, Baruch Hashem, we're on the path. Baruch Hashem. The path to our success. The path to our desires. The path to our wants, our needs. The path to our health. You're on the path. So when you see those detours now, you see them for what they really are. And you don't second guess, which direction should I take now? Well, what did the Kohen tell you to do? Which direction? What did the Kohen? You see? When you're sinless with the Kohen. You become sinless, man. You just go out and meet your marks, and you meet them. And then you make new marks for yourself. Then you meet them. You die needing or making mark. That's how you die, and you go into the next life. You know, a question for me this week was this. I was like, man, how many of you ever thought about this? I told myself, I was thinking, you know, a lot of self-talk. I was like, if Moses was alive today, right now, in Corona 2020, what would Moses be doing right now? You ever thought about that? Or, you know, you think if Jacob was alive today, right now, in Corona 2020, what would he be doing? You ever think about these kind of things? I'm like, literally, what would Aaron be doing, like, right now, if he was just alive and kicking today? What would they be doing? And my first thought would be like, okay, they should be doing the Torah. That's on the surface. But then it gets deeper than that. Like, what would they be doing? I know they would be trying to help other people. I know they would be starting businesses. I know they'd be innovating and doing things and providing services that's going to help and make the world a better place and help people. Hey, when you control water, you're helping a lot of people, aren't you? You're providing a great service. And we were experts at water wells, Mishpachah. And we still experts at water wells today, just in a different form, right? Because the majority of us can just take water right out of the tap now. That's a blessing in the Baruch Hashem. I was doing that this morning. I was just, you know, by the tap, filling up my blue bottles, Rabbi. Rabbi Simon filling up my blue bottles, getting ready to put them, because San Antonio got some great sun coming in now. Maybe I ought to tell the president about the blue bottles. Baruch Hashem. You know, the sun has many therapeutic under his work. Yeah, I was filling up my blue bottles. I'm like, man, what a blessing to be able to fill up my water right from the tap. Taking this water, fill up my blue bottles, stick them out in the sun. Have them out in the sun now. Getting hot in here, down here in San Antonio, Baruch Hashem, as we open up. And I'm like, what a great blessing. But to this day, we still masters of the water well. But our water comes in a different form today. Our water comes in the form of the I am and how we can teach people truly how to pray. How many of you have friends, family members, and loved ones that need to be taught how to pray? See, they put up a capital P. If you're like, yeah, Rabbi, I have that. I'm surrounded by them kind of people that truly they yet to realize and they're ignorant to the fact of how to pray. I used to be that one time. I didn't know how to pray. I was just winging it and doing the best that I could. And the Master, with all his compassion and loving kindness, he saw where I was and he met me where I was, Baruch Hashem. And he sent Mother Wisdom to give me guidance and direction. Look, he gave me the words. Gave me the words of the Master. Baruch Hashem. My will is my word. He brought me right to the feet of the Kohen. And I didn't have to hop and skip through all this mumbo-jumbo. I went right to the priesthood. And I've been there ever since, and I'm going to stay there ever since. And I am there ever since. I don't have to say, well, am I in the right place? There's been a lot of people here. They come and gone. They come through here, and they're gone. They come through Forever-Israel, and they're gone. Because they realize for them, this wasn't the right fit. This wasn't the right place for them. And I say kudos to them. So be it. Instead of staying here and not being happy and causing all kind of ruckus and bringing all kind of negative energy to the family, then they just moved on to find that place that's cozy and suitable for them. And so be it, Mishpachah. How many of you understand? The whole world is not going to be Israel. And Israel's not going to be the whole world. That's just not it. That's just not in the cards, Mishpachah. So why do we get our underrules in the war when people just don't accept and don't embrace the laws of Moses? The way we embrace it and the way we see it especially, because believe me, we have inside information because we have the son of Aaron. Don't you understand that? We have insider. We're as closest to the God of Israel as any other human being can be, being with the priesthood. That's you're sinless when you're with the Kohen. You're sinless, man. You truly are, because you have a conception. You have an understanding of how to pray when you see people around you that they don't. And you know, it's just really like, man, you know, it doesn't really sadden me, but I really count my blessings and say, wow, I'm not ignorant anymore. You know what I mean? Because it doesn't sadden me that they don't know how to pray. It gives me great solace that I do. And at the same time, when they're ready to accept to be able to, pray right, then they will. And until then, they're comfortable with how they are. My sister, she's a preacher, ordained, got the, she went to cemetery school and all that, and she prays a certain way. She's still Shabba doing and Scooby-Doo. And I'm like, hey, if my sister's happy doing that and she's comfortable, so be it. I'm not going to try to go in there, and I did earlier in my career, in my career to coming back to who I am. I was overzealous with my sister, and I had to apologize to her because she came to my base, and I told her, your Jesus is wrong. You're wrong. Jesus, you're praying to nothing. There was no J in it. Even I started breaking things down to her, and she wasn't comfortable with that, and I totally get it now. But I was overzealous. How many of you been there? Overzealous. And out of love for my sister, my baby sister, this baby girl. We only have one sister. It's 4 brothers and 1 sister. And so I'm like, man, I felt like it was my responsibility to put her on this path. And she don't want to be on this path. She happy on her path. Her path, she said, I love Jesus and me and Jesus going to be together. I said, well, stop. There is no Jesus. There's no J. You know what I mean? Overzealous. And I had to apologize for that. I had to apologize because I was wrong. So now I understand. If my sister's comfortable where she at, so be it. Baruch Hashem. I'm like, hey, great. Her Jesus, she's closing. Hey, in Corona, my sister's closing on a brand new house that she had built. And I'm like, Baruch Hashem. Here in Texas. I'm like, Baruch Hashem. I'm so happy for it. And her Jesus brought it to her. I'm like, Baruch Hashem. You see, because just like in my instance, you see, the Master's going to meet us where we are. If the Master can have compassion on me, Shabba doing in my prayer closet, cannot the Master have compassion on my sister and long-suffering on my sister as well? Absolutely, right? You no respecter of persons. So who am I to condemn her and try to put my sister on my path when that's not her path? So that may be for somebody out there. So some of you folks out there to help you really understand how to deal with human nature. As students of the Torah, you are more importantly students of human nature. Because the Torah is all about humanity, isn't it? At the end of the day, what is Torah without people? Think about it. If you have Torah but you have no people, what is Torah without people? The Torah, at the end of the day, Torah is about people. But first and more importantly, you have to be able to deal with your person. And don't worry about other people. Stop doing that. I had to learn that the hard way. Great lessons, great experience that I learned. I can't sit here and push this Torah on my sister and tell her Jesus is fictitious and made up. No, his name is Yeshua. His name not Jesus. There's no blood. Don't be praying that. No, that's what she knows. Is that's what she's happy. So be it. That's her path. So be it. I'm not trying to interrupt her journey. Her journey is her journey. So, Mishpahah, I implore you, if you're doing this to your family members, friends, and loved ones, stop. Love them. Love them. Show long suffering towards them. Don't feel sorry for them. That's just their path. But be grateful and thankful that you're not living in that ignorance that they're living in, of not truly being able to understand. Not truly understanding truly what sin is at the end of the day. What sin really is. It's very, very important to understand, Mishpahah. Continue to worry about your I am. Concern yourself with your I am. And worry less about the am I. Am I right? Am I doing what's right for me? If you have doubt, you've already failed. If you have doubt, you need to go back and look at the pillars. The pillars. Wow. That may be a book in the making, book title. The pillars. You got to go back to the very pillars. The foundation of our way of life and our way of living, and reassess it. Ask questions. Get with the Kohen and get right. Because you have the Abrahamic-Faith Bible. Even with the Abrahamic-Faith Bible, yeah, it gives you more understanding than the King James, King Jimmy, or, the Jewish publication out there. But still, you should still have questions. And believe me, there's no wrong question except the one that's not asked. I tell you, I go back and look at the question I should have asked Akoin just the other day. Just yesterday, I should have asked him, when do you cut that vertical? I should have asked him that question. That would have been a great question to ask. When do I cut that vertical spread? That vertical ratio spread? When do I cut it? And he gave me the right answer. Believe me, he would have. But that's what you do. You must ask the question. Don't assume. Don't assume, Mishpah. Don't assume. Ask the question. You have a question, or you may, okay, well, maybe I should get some counsel in this area. Don't go get counsel from Joe Blog. Go to our source, family, where you have a question, you have some controversy that's streaming up in your head. You're like, what should I do here? Send an email to the Kohen. He'll get back with you, family members. Believe me, he will. And I know we just got some correspondence from someone that we haven't seen in a while. I was so happy to hear from her. Because we go off on our journey somewhere, and then we come back to the path. We go off and we detour somewhere, and then we come back, and that's a beautiful thing. We see that analogy in the prodigal son, and that in our history in the New Testament. The example is there. Christians take it and they use that to lift up the banner of grace. But it has nothing to do with grace, Mishpah. It has something to do with you going back to the pillars. You're going back to where it all started. Oh, not grace. And no time for grace. There's no time for that. I don't believe in grace. I'm not a believer in that. I'm a believer in gratitude, long-suffering, and having compassion towards one another. And for you to go back and get on the path and do what you're supposed to do. And continue on, you see? According to says, grace is the biggest problem pool in the church. And I tell you, they brace their pillars is just grace. It's one pillar and it's just grace. That's it. It's grace, and that's all there is to it. And you can't stand on that one pillar. Because when a good wind comes, the grace pillar is down, and then what you got? You're running around like loose chickens. Oh, you come back and you give gratitude and you show compassion and love, and then you put the son on the path again. And if he goes off the path, then that's his decision. Let him go on out there. You don't chasing him down, and you got the FBI looking for him and the CIA. No, let him go. Do what he's going to do. But at the end of the day, they'll come back to the pillar where it all started. They'll come back to what you ingrained in them from the very beginning. And if they don't have that indoctrination of being ingrained from the very beginning of the Torah, like we all didn't have that. But our children will. Man, I tell you, Nachshon will. Nachshon, my goodness. He'll know what his pillar is. I didn't know what my pillar was. I just thought I had to hop here to and fro with Catholicism, with the Christianity. These pillars were broken pillars. They couldn't withstand the weather. They couldn't withstand the elements. But Torah can. The laws of Moses stand. And every Bible-believing person listening to me right now, you know why that pillar stands? Because that pillar is still in your Bible. As much as you believe in your Bible, that pillar is there as well. And it will stand the test. It will withstand the test of time as well. It will withstand any corona, any plague. You have the keys to withstand all that. I guarantee you, and just like our Kohen told us, anybody under the umbrella of the laws of Moses, you don't have to worry about no corona virus here and there. I mean, plagues is part of the plan, right? It's part of our pattern to deal with plagues. It's all throughout our Torah. Plague here, plague there, plague everywhere. But Israel still stands, and Israel will always stand. I don't care. You come with your conspiracy theory. I don't care what you come with. eugenics, they want to shoot you up with this, that, the other. I don't care how much they want to shoot you up with all of these vaccines. Israel will still stand. Do you understand that, Mishpah? It's all a detour to distract you from yourself. Am I going to die of the coronavirus? Well, guess what? Guess what? Lord said, Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord, but Noah obeyed. Yes, Noah found what? Noah was favored by the Most High. Baruch Hashem. He was favored. Baruch Hashem. Because, luxury class, no disrespect to you, but that word grace is like a bad word to me. I don't like that word. I guess because I come out of it, luxury class, you know what I mean? I come out of that condition of grace, and I realize how it just don't stand. You know, they've been screaming to me, grace, grace forever at Hagee's church and Kenneth Copeland church. What does that do to me? Grace wasn't doing nothing for me. Grace wasn't putting food on my table. Grace wasn't meeting my desires. And I'm like, wow, I got to come out of this, man. I am favored of the Most High, Baruch Hashem. I won't get no corona, and you won't either. If you say, I am favored of the Most High, you're favored. You're not marked for corona. You're not even marked for death. Baruch Hashem, think about that. We don't die, Mishpah, we multiply. Israel don't die. Israel lives on. Israel will pass the next plague and the next plague and the next plague. Israel will stand forever. Do you believe that? Can you say, I am Israel, or am I Israel? Wow. I say, I am Israel. Yeah, there's no doubt here, well, am I really Israel? I mean, the Kohen says I'm Israel, but am I Israel? Am I part of the family of Jacob? No, I am a part of the family of Jacob. And I will withstand any kind of corona. Corona here, corona there, corona everywhere. And I'll drink a corona with you one day, too, if you want. That's where I stand. Your path to success, it's going to vary. It's going to vary, Mishpah, amongst all of us. But what we have to do is make decisions for ourselves with the ammunition that we've been given. How many of you are so grateful and gracious of all this information that we have? All of these, the tools, the ammunition. You have all of this ammunition. I'm like, wow, this is like amazing. And it's almost like I'm a kid in a candy store. And for me, I'm a kid in a chocolate store. I'm like, wow, I got all of these different chocolates I can eat from. Some's got caramel in them. Some's got raisins in them. Some have dates in them. And I can just I can partake from all of this chocolate. And some of the chocolate I might not like. I prefer this other chocolate over here better. So I'm going to do this chocolate. I'll put this other one to the side. And maybe another person, well, I like this chocolate. If you ever watch Willy Wonka, not the new one that they did, but the old school rendition and color. Willy Wonka had a variety of different chocolates you could pick from. Some people like this. Some of the children like to eat this. Some of the children like this. Some didn't like chocolate. Some like bubble gum. Others like soda water. Blah, 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 blah. A variety. So do you see why the son of Aaron has given us a variety? I call it just ammunition for you to use as weapons to help you meet your mark, to help you win the battle in the war. Some battles you may lose, but you're going to win the war. And half the time that you lose the battles is because you give up on the battle. You say, well, I'm going to chalk this up as a loss. And that's okay. As long as you don't call yourself a loser, chalk it up as a loss and continue to win. Come with another method. Pull out another weapon in your arsenal and use it and begin to apply it. See if you like it. See if you're comfortable with it. See if it works for you. Some of you like to shoot a 45. Some of you like to shoot an M16. Some of you like to shoot a bazooka. Some of you just like to throw a grenade. Just blow it all up. It's going to vary. Our paths to success are going to vary. But what you all need to understand, what we all need to understand, is that we need to come from a standpoint of I am and not am I. Don't doubt yourself. In your self-talk, I'm telling you, you're going to run into this. How many of you in your self-talk, it creeps in. You'll be sitting there meditating. And you say, well, am I really? The I am will creep, the am I will creep in like no man's business. And Eddie said it well said, Eddie, when he said, look, you got to infuse yourself with the I am. Keep repeating it. Your recordings, play them. Play and play your list over and over so you begin to combat the subconscious, combat the logic with just pure, unadulterated positivity of I am this, I am successful, I am a businessman, I am creative, I am innovative. Because if Moses was alive today, I guarantee you that's just what would be going on. He would be innovative, doing things to help and provide service to others. I'm telling you, you can come up with a lot of innovation just by watching these daily briefings with the president. I'm telling you, there's going to be a lot of great things coming out with that UV. You know what? Right now, you know what I envision when you start talking about that UV light? I can see stores. They're going to have that UV light when you go in, when you go out. It's going to be I'm telling you, UV is going to be big. That UV is going to be big, and not just for corona, but any other viruses and stuff like that. UV lighting for you, I'm telling you, there's a lot of innovation in that, a lot of great business potential in that. Hint, hint. Put your minds to work. I'm telling you, that UV is going to do great things. I tell you, here in San Antonio, I told you it's sunny out over here. I tell you, as soon as that briefing was over with, I've never seen so many people outside before in my life. People come out, they're outside, they're in the sun. Hey, it was great. It was great. You know, my wife and Nakshan, we drove by the park yesterday. How many people out playing badminton and everything out in the sun? Because it's hot here in San Antonio, Bucashia. Now, just instructional. I want you all, for those of you who may be looking at a relocation, because we all sojourners, you may be looking at setting up another base somewhere. I want you to use the corona. I want you to use the numbers on the corona as a telltale bellwether sign on where you need to relocate. This is just, look, let's just be real here. Look at the states that are reopening first. You may want to go and move to these states. And people are even saying this. I watch business news and they're saying, if these states don't hurry up and open, savvy and wise business people are going to take their businesses and move them to the states that are open. Does that not make a lot of sense? Come on, smart people. You're talking about business-minded people. They're going to close up these businesses where these states are slow to open, and they're going to move their businesses to where the states are open and business-friendly. Now, if businesses are going to do that, don't you think people are going to do that as well? And Hakoin is right. You can see it on TV. There's people protesting saying, look, we need to open up the country. We need to open up the state. Some of these states don't want to open. They're reluctant to open. The people are protesting. What do you think these people are going to do after they start protesting? They're going to start protesting with their wallet. And they're going to take their money like they were doing before. People were already making a mass exodus from New York already. How many of you understand that? Before Corona, people were leaving New York like no man's business. We were talking about this before Corona kicked off, weren't we? People were already leaving New York. All of these high taxation, people were already leaving California before Corona. We're talking about California, Corona. Why? It's because their policies are not conducive for life and for business and for entrepreneurship and for creativity. So people are going to leave. And they're going to move to these states that are more business friendly, that are accepting of creativity and of innovation. And that's just what's happening. I'm telling you, Austin is becoming the new Silicon Valley. I'm just letting you know. Atara, where you at? Austin. Your city is becoming the new Silicon Valley. You just watch it. You just watch it. I give it 10 years. It's going to be the new Silicon Valley. Austin, Texas. Mark my words. I'm telling you, you just watch it happen. Because these businesses, they said, wait a minute, hold up, wait a minute. Why do I need to stay here when I have better opportunity, my business can thrive, and I have better opportunity to be more successful? Listen, businesses don't want to shut down in America, but we've been told to. You see? We've been told to shut down. So they shut down. But you can only do that for so long. You know, American people, contrary to popular belief, American people love to make money, and they love to make money the hard way. They love to earn their money through innovation, through ingenuity, through creativity, and some just, you know, blood, sweat, and tears. Here in Texas, man, come on, man. You know, you work on an oil field. I mean, that's some hard labor, but they happy to make that hard labor money. That's their journey. That's their path. That's what they know. Rabbi Zachariah will tell you. But, you know, Rabbi Zachariah is like Jefferson's. He's done moved up. He's done moved on up. But Rabbi Zachariah will tell you, if you're going to be an auto mechanic, that's not going to be one of the cleanest jobs in the world. You know what I mean? If you're working on automobiles, now Rabbi Zachariah will tell you it's getting cleaner. You know, you're going to get some oil spills on you. You're going to get, you know, transmission fluid on you and this, that, the other, and the third. You see, Rabbi Zachariah is moving up the ladder, Baruch Hashem. Rabbi Zachariah said, we're more busy now than we were last year. And I worked 3 weeks without a day off. My goodness. So, I would propose that a lot of people are using their stimulus money and getting their cars fixed. How about that? They're putting their money right back into the economy. Now, Coin says something, I'm going to get ready to close, but I tell you what, there's a lot of wise people out here. And most of the wise people out here already have money. And so they're giving out their wisdom. Now, Coin sent me this video. Coin, you remember sending me that video of that billionaire that said, if you give every family $1 million, that will solve the problem. You remember sending me that video, Coin? I tell you, that billionaire businessman was a very wise man. Now, think about this. They just signed a $484 billion, trillion, was it $1 trillion or was it $1 billion? I think it was $484 billion package. This is phase, I don't know whatever phase that we on. Now think about this. Now, we only have in America 350 something odd, according to the census, people in America. Now, we don't have 350 odd million families, but we have 350 odd million. So look at the numbers. If we just give $1 million to every, we can give $1 million to every person and still have some stimulus money left over. Do you get what I'm saying? Now, if you give $1 million to every family, don't you think that would not solve the problem? That would totally solve the problem. Because people would take that $1 million and they would go and they'd probably go up to Rabbi Zachariah and say, look, Rabbi Zachariah, I know you're a mechanic. I want you to tell me what's the best car that I need to buy. I'm going to buy me a new car. They would take that money, begin talk about houses. Everybody probably go buy them and their mama a house. Do you see? And of course, invested too, right, luxury class? There would be so much stimulus. Business, you had people starting their own business. Taxes, everybody would pay their taxes, right? They have money to pay. So again, what a great concept. A novel, simple concept. But again, a lot of people wouldn't like that thought, but what a great thought. Isn't it a great thought? You just give every family $1 million. That would solve the problem. Because just like we seen with this stimulus, a lot of people are taking that money and they've already spent it. They put it right back into the economy. People aren't taking this money and putting it under their mattress. They're taking this money and they're buying groceries. They're buying clothes. I'm watching this stuff. I'm seeing what they're doing with it. They're buying clothes. They're buying electronics. They're putting this money right back into the economy, into businesses. They're going to eat at restaurants, even though they have to pull up to the drive-through, but they still putting that money back into the restaurant and trying to stay open. You see what I'm saying? So it stimulates the economy in a way no man has ever heard of before. Give every family $1 million. And they could have done that. They just passed a $484 billion stimulus package. And believe me, there's going to be more to come. Because what they find, and you all seen it, in the stimulus package that went out, the money was going like no man's business in that first round. But then they find, well, Harvard took some money, you know, that they should have taken. Shake Shack took some millions that they should have taken. How about not just give the money to the people? I tell you, that billionaire, he was a wise man. What a wise statement. What a wise and novel approach. Because we know the people are going to put the money back in the economy. They're not going to take the money and put it under their mattress. They're going to go out and get things that they want and they desire for themselves. People want to eat. People want a car. People want a house. People want the luxuries of life, and they're going to go out and do it. So, again, what a novel approach. So there's many great ideas out there. Many, many great ideas. And just to hear them, I tell you, it's a beautiful thing. Eddie says homes, cars, goods, land, buy nice meals. Yeah. Many will start businesses and travel, putting the money right back into the economy. Right back into the smack dab economy. Isn't that beautiful? But again, novel approach. But, will it ever happen? Probably not. Because the powers that be, they want to keep, you see, people got greedy with the first, some money did get out to the small mom and pop businesses. That's why we have to do the next phase. It's because it didn't touch all the people needed to touch. Because people got greedy. A lot of businesses got greedy. And so that's where we are today. So we see it. So what do we tell ourselves? We tell ourselves we tell ourselves I am, not am I. That's what we tell ourselves. That part shows what we need to talk about today. Is I am and not am I. Don't be in the am I camp, because you're going to doubt yourself right out of your markers. So what? Your markers don't happen in a week, a month, a year. Never give up on your desires for yourself and what you desire for yourself. What do you want for yourself? Not what other people want for you, but what do you want for yourself? And I'm closing with this. Too many times, in my meditations this week, it came to me, too many times people have the mindset of this. Well, what is the world going to bring to me? And that's the wrong kind of way to think. Like, they're waiting on the world to bring something to you. And you know what? How you should be thinking? You should be thinking this way. The world should be waiting on you. Like, what is he going to do? What is she going to do next? You see what I'm saying? But many people are waiting on the world to come to them, when the world is waiting on us to go to it. And however we want to go to it, at whatever avenue, whatever path to our success that we want. And we're sitting here waiting on the world, when the world's waiting on us. And too many people miss that concept. Go out and take your world. Go out and make your world. However you want to make it. The way you make your world may not be how I make my world. So be it. If you're happy and you're peaceful and you're healthy and you're meeting all the marks that you desire for yourself, then so be it. That's called being sinless. But too many times we wait and we wait and we wait for the world to bring us our scenario. That's missing the mark. You leave yourself in the sin state. You don't want to do that. And you're unhappy because things never come around. The world never brings you what you want because you don't go out and take what you want. You don't go out and make what you want. You just waiting for the world to bring you your situation. Don't do that. Make your situation. Create your situation. Have dreams, have desires, write them down. Visualize them. Say that you are your dream. Say that you are your desire, and you will be. Who cares what other people say? Who gives a flying fruit what other people say about you? Who cares if they say, well, it'll never happen? Because you know it will. Don't give people so much weight to where it weighs you down and it affects your innovation. It affects your dreams and desires, because then, you're thrown in the towel. Begin to infuse and surround yourself with positivity. And those that already have what you want, begin to watch them. And begin to continue to watch them. Because listen, I think this way. If I want to be a billionaire, how come I can't? See, my question is, why can't I be a billionaire? Because there's already billionaires out there. If I want to be a millionaire, the question is, Well, why can't I? I'm like, well, why? I don't say, well, I'll never be a millionaire. No, I say, why can't I be a millionaire? There's already millionaires out there. There's already people doing. How come I can't win the lottery ticket? Because there's already people that won the lottery ticket. How come I can't win that scratch off? Because there's already people that won it. So I can win it too. Universes, powers, the master, the God of Israel is no respecter of persons. I can do it too. If they can do it, why can't I do it? I can do it. I am doing it. Do you get it? Have that kind of mindset. And dump that mental attitude of, well, the man is keeping me down. Oh, this is keeping me down. Oh, I'm too old. Oh, I'm too short. Oh, I'm too white. Oh, I'm too black. Oh, my hair too straight. Oh, yeah, come on, man. That's what's keeping you down. The only person that's keeping you down is self, yourself. Begin to change that whole way of thinking by saying, I am and not am I. Am I good enough? Am I ever going to be successful? Am I ever going to have that husband? Am I ever going to have that wife? You're thinking that way, you're not. That's the old Eeyore attitude. Oh, no. I'm not good enough. I'm never going to be. Always looking at the dark side. Come to the light and let the force be with you. That's real. Come to the light. Come to the light side and let the force be with you. And the force will be with you. And the force is with you. I love me some Star Wars, but that's real. My Queen tells me that, and I truly believe that. The force is with us. And we are the force. Think about that for a minute. On that note, we'll wrap it up for the Shabbat. I am or am I? Baruch Hashem. Over to you, Queen. We'll leave it up for any questions at this time. Please ask the question. Ask the question because that's what's important to help you get and stay on your path and reach your desires. Ask the question. Please do. Okay, over to you, Queen, and Shabbat Shalom and Shalom Shalom to all of you. Have a wonderful and a great week ahead.
Toda for that, Rabbi Kefa. So yeah, that is correct. There was an Indian economist who suggested that instead of giving billions of dollars to billionaires, which is factual, this money that's been given is not given to the ordinary man on the street. A lot of this money is going to billionaires whose business suffered, and they had investment funds and they went down, so they're trying to prop them up again. So a lot of this money is going to billionaires. And he suggested this. He said just because they're going to miss their holiday, their vacation in Hampton this year, so what? He said this money should really go to the people. And he said, why not give $500,000 to each family in America? He suggested $500,000. He said if you give $500,000 to each family in America, you will do more for the economy. And let these other businesses, the so-called billionaires, investment funds, let them go to bust. Let them bust. So it don't make no difference. Because a lot of, remember in the news conferences you're always told that the small businesses are the backbone of this country. 40 to 50% of the small businesses are the backbone of this country. Now, if every person had $500,000, $500,000, you're not going to go spend $500,000 in groceries. You're going to take some of that money and you're going to, maybe start a business, maybe do an investment, maybe buy some clothes, maybe buy a car. So you're going to generate a whole slew of economic activity. 330 million people in America, if they had $500,000, then that money goes straight back into the economy in some form of a business, investment, money for food, vacation, everything else. Now you tell me, would that be better? Or then rather to say some billionaire's fund, is lost, $20 billion. It took a $20 billion loss, and so therefore we have to now prop it up by giving them $20 billion. Think about it. So I think that an Indian economist, very clever economist, very smart guy, made a smart comment. I thought that was a good comment. It was something that would really work. But you see, the problem right now that we have is that the president is good, but the president's advisors are not all that great. Now think about the advisors that he has around them. And I will for one say that his doctor's advisors, I don't really rate them. I mean, somebody might rate CDC and say what a brilliant doctors they are. I would say no, they are the worst advisor that he has, because every advice they've given him to date has ended up in disaster and incorrect results. So, that's just by the by. So Sweden, on the other hand, Sweden is a country that did not lock down, that, listened to its personal advisors, and Sweden came out probably a lot better than most countries. It did not destroy its economy, did not destroy its people's values and visions, and Sweden, under 1,000 deaths, a lot better off. And these people will try to use statistics in this country. There are certain people in this country who will try to use statistics and say, well, no, Sweden was not as good and worse off. No. Don't believe all those nonsense that you hear from those so-called people, because you can use statistics and you can make a lie truth and truth lie. With statistics, you can. Statistics can be used to represent information that could be totally BS, and you can make it sound like it's the best information in the world. And and I will critique Mike Adams on this from Natural News. He made a comment that Sweden wasn't so good and was worse off. No, Mike Adams, Sweden actually did very well for what they did. And no, you're not right this time. You're quite wrong in suggesting that Sweden did not do right. Sweden actually did very well. And you know what? Out of all the countries I would like to live in Europe, I put Sweden at number 1 list for myself. If I wanted to live in Europe, I would live in Sweden. It's one of the best countries to live in. Because I've been in Sweden. And it's a really nice country. Really nice people, really nice country. Because the problem we have with the British in England, and everybody will tell you that, is that generally speaking, the British are good people, but there is a lot of racism in England. A lot of racism under the hood. Institutional racism is ripe over there. You think American racism is bad? Well, you haven't seen British racism yet. So England has a lot of racism. Racism against the Irish, racism against the Scottish, racism against the Welsh, all sorts of racism. Not to talk about racism against, people from India, Pakistan and other places. And let's not even talk about black racism. That's beyond this world. So my point is this, right? When you don't know, you can make all sorts of assumptions. And you might think America's bad, but America may not be as bad as you think. Because when you look at the structure and the makeup of the people, then you get to realize that actually it's not green grass on the other side. The grass is not so green, it's tainted brown maybe. So this is my point. So the point is this, that you today have the information. You are, at least most of you, and others are trying to be in Torah. The Torah is all about life. Torah is all about blessings. So think about what does Torah represent. Torah does not represent long beards, falling to your knees. The Torah doesn't represent black hats and black coats. These are all BS traditions that men have created. Torah actually represents you, the person. And Torah represents your values, your life. And it wants to better your life. That's what Torah is really about. Torah doesn't lock you in the house, but rabbis will. Rabbis will definitely lock you in the house on the Sabbath. So think about that. Oh my goodness, Eddie, Eddie's saying that I watched an unorthodox on Netflix about that. A young girl escaped from ultra-Orthodox. I tell you, they're the worst people on the planet, ultra-Orthodox, They're so restricted and so hard on women. You think Muslims are bad. Muslims are probably a walk in the park by that standard, I tell you. They're so strict and so bad on young women over there. You gotta be, you gotta be very careful about long beards. Honestly, I would say, see a long beard 10 miles away, run 15 miles the other side. So be very careful about religion. Religion is what, puts bondage on people. I don't care they come under Torah, some other guys. Religion always will put you in bondage. So my suggestion to you is this. What I have taught you today and previously, put it to use. Write your affirmations if you haven't. If you've written them, great. Record them. Listen to them daily, religiously. Believe in those affirmations for yourself. If you have written that you are a millionaire, if you have written that you have a beautiful life, if you've written that you have a fantastic family life, believe in those affirmations. Work on them. How do you work on them? You listen to them daily. That's how you believe in them. And then if you want to experiment with something else, you can, but, stick to the ones that you have. And you can modify them. If you decide that, today, you wanted a Rolex watch and now you don't want Rolex and maybe you want some other watch, then sure, maybe you want an Accurist, so go ahead and get your Accurist watch. But so don't worry about changes, changes are allowed. You're allowed to make changes. Don't just aim for $1 million. Aim for $100 million. Don't just write, oh, I'm, receiving $1 million, right? I've received $100 million. Go for the, ultimate. Why? Because you want to aim big. Don't aim small. The blessings of the wine in the home. Yes. The blessings of the wine in the home. Before the onset of Shabbat, you should in your families, the head of the household should, I say the word should, they should take some wine, they should read a blessing upon it. We have a traditional blessing, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. You read the blessing and then you would, before you, of course this is a ritual, this is a tradition, it's a good tradition, it's not a bad tradition. And you should, this is by the way, the Torah. Now this is rabbinic in nature, the wine. But the other bit of the blessing is Torah blessing. You should stand with your family, children, wife, and anybody else in the family, maybe, parents. And you can bless the household. And that is very powerful. You should do that every week before the commencement of the Shabbat. And also should do it on festivals too. So festivals, the priesthood normally stood up and gave a corporate blessing on the festivals. But you as a head of your household should give a home blessing to your children, to the family in the house. Might be mother, might be grandmother, might be somebody else, mother-in-law maybe. So you should do that every week religiously. And I would suggest that if you are a woman, don't have a man, then you should read it yourself upon your children. No, not the Aaronic blessing. No, because you're not allowed to use the Aaronic blessing. A lot of people make the mistake on using the Aaronic blessing. No, that is for the priesthood only. A lot of pastors are doing it, rabbis are doing it. That's actually in contravention to the Torah. The Torah is given that blessing to the priests, the Kohen, not every Tom, Dick and Harry out there. So do not do that, because you will fall directly in violation of the Torah when you do that. What you should bless your family with is a generic blessing, where you can say that, that bless this house, bless these children with abundance, with good health, with good life, prosperity ahead. That's a generic blessing. That's the blessing that you should be giving to your family. Whoever that family is. Could be grandmother, could be grandfather, could be children, could be anybody. Man or woman, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if you do it as a woman, doesn't matter if you do it as a man. If there's a man, then he does it. If there isn't, then you do it as a woman. But you do it. And then the Aaronic blessing is for special times, is for festivals, is for special moments in history, like in our year. And when it's given by the Kohanim, then it's very powerful. But if it's just done by Tom, Dick and Harry, it's not so powerful, by the way. So don't believe that, thinking, no, just because my pastor did it, there's power. There's no power in there, because he's not a Kohen. So he shouldn't even be doing it. And this is something that people don't speak, but rabbis in Israel realize this. Rabbis don't do that. Did you know that in Israel, rabbis will not do that? Rabbis will ask the Kohen that they know of, they'll say, you stand and do it. They understand that much. Even the Ashkenazis understand that. So with that, we'll leave you and have a great week ahead, great Sabbath, rest. The shofar is a priestly thing, but it can also be done by, shofar blowing can also be done by the ordinary people as well. Even women can blow shofar as well. You can do that. Shofar is not a strictly speaking priestly, although it was, to some extent, for war, for festivals, it was, the priests were blowing it, but there is actually no restriction on that for the others. Other people can, if they desire, they can blow the shofar. No problem about that, but it's not easy to blow a shofar. Maybe you want to get a trumpet, it might be easier to blow, or some other blowing instrument, because a shofar is hard to blow, by the way. You have to be very precise with the angle and blowing it, then you can blow it. Not everybody can blow a shofar. I'm talking about the method. Not that you can't do it, not that you're not allowed, you are allowed to do the shofar, but it's harder to blow it. I think you'll probably find it easier to blow some other instruments than the shofar, because you need a lot of practice with that. And then I don't know if the neighbor's going to complain that it's too loud. So, there's all that to consider there as well. So, okay, have a great day today and rest of the week. Enjoy your lockdowns until next time. And hopefully next time we'll have about 50% of the states open. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. And then don't forget we got a second coming of this disease as well. So there is a first coming and there is a second coming. So be forewarned that be prepared for second coming also. Okay, take care. Shabbat Shalom. Shalom, Shalom.